Hello again, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the Atlanta Major. It's me, Des. I'm back with Tim. Tim, I've got a question for you. How's the makeup holding up? Because I feel as the day's gone by and I've eaten food and I'm had a bit, oh no, makeup can't do it. How am I doing?
Mine's fine.
You've got none on. Is this looking okay? It's looking a bit shiny, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
It's very shiny.
Starting to sweat through.
It's hot down there in hell, man.
I can imagine that it would be.
It's actually been all right, to be fair. I've enjoyed this so far. But we've got some graphics to go through before we get into this best of three to determine which of these two teams is heading home on day one of the Major. Here's where things sit. We've got Dark Zero versus G2 playing tomorrow in a best of one. All winners games are best of ones. It's elimination games where they become best of threes. Here we've got Fury versus Knights coming up in just a moment. As said, a best of three, and the loser goes home. They are done here in Atlanta, and the same story will happen for whoever wins this game today between these two teams will face off against the loser of DZ versus G2 in a best of three tomorrow evening. And once again, the loser of that game will go home. Crazy to think that either of those two teams could be going home, because Dark Zero, realistically, they won Charlotte, of course. We've had G2, who went on to win the World Championship at SI earlier this year. There's still a very real possibility one of two could go home if we see Fury or Knights really step up to the plate.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is it's going to take a big performance from one of those two teams. Yes. In reality, just being honest, from what we've seen so far, you know, they've maybe not really challenged Dark Zero and G2 today, so they're going to have to show us something different tomorrow. But to even have an opportunity to do that, they've got to beat the other one to get through to tomorrow and continue their run going. Of course, these two teams now, one of them will have to play two back-to-back elimination matches, whoever wins this one. So we can see the stats in front of us there, how they got here. Fury at the minute looking like they could be in with a shout at SI. So a win here is going to be a big thing for them.
I mean, really, all this is going to come down to for Fury is if they can get out of play-ins and make it to Swiss, that's it. That's all they have to do. As you'll see on a graphic that we'll see, I think, in just a moment as well. We'll pull it up so you can look at what teams have got to do around the probabilities of making it to SI. And I know it feels crazy. We're at the start of a major, but all we're doing, it seems to do today is talk about SI. It's because it is super important, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. Fury need to get themselves through, need to keep themselves in the conversation, but really, on the other side for Knights, even getting through this one, it doesn't guarantee them anything.
No. I mean, there's still, you know, even with a win here, they've got a very long shot ahead of them. You know, we've learned firsthand not to write off those 3, 4, 5% chances. We saw G2 do it. But, you know, that's the outlier. That's why we remember it. So a lot of work for Knights to do, and it all has to start here and now. Lose this, and there will be absolutely zero chance that they go to SI.
Well, we do have the veto coming up very, very shortly, but I guess as a real quick recap, Tim, we look back at the last two games these two teams played earlier today. It's not been a pretty day for either team. One getting absolutely destroyed by G2, the other by Dark Zero. I don't feel we've really had a chance to see what those two teams are made of, given the caliber of the teams they've played against previously. But here, they've got to go big. They've really got to show up against one another. And honestly, I think I'm expecting 3 maps.
I think it could be close, but for me, I'm sort of leaning towards Fury. I think, you know, you look at their SI position, you look at their overall performances, I just think they're going to have the edge here against Knights. And for me, I think we might see this one sort of done into. I think it's going to be very, very important for Knights to keep hold of their own map, I will say that. I think if Fury win Border and then go on to their own map on Skyscraper, it could be a tough one. But maybe, if Knights win the first one, we might see 3.
You could have 3 there, Border, Sky, and Club if we have to get all the way through. Honestly, when I was doing the expectations for this group yesterday, kind of running through the points I wanted to make, the things to talk about, I did have Knights down as arguably one of our weakest teams in the competition. I'm always happy to be surprised and delighted, but I think I am with you. Fury do feel like the better team. However, based on the performance earlier today against G2, that still remains yet to be proven.
It does. You know, ultimately, they are going to come up against a team that are going to treat them slightly differently to how G2 did. I think, you know, realistically, we're going to see Fury have a little bit more space to play their own game than maybe G2 gave them. They're going to have a little bit more opportunity to get into things, build that confidence. So, yeah, I think we probably see a different Fury here. But honestly, I'm not writing Knights off. You know, who knows at the end of the day? The social vote says it all. 56-44. Very, very close in terms of what everybody thinks is going to happen. It's just, it's a difficult one to call.
Well, really to get the turn by this first map. I think I'm with you. If Fury can walk away with that one, I'd expect them to take Skyscraper as well. But Border is just one of those chaotic maps that you just don't really know which way it's going to go from the outset. Fury start on the defensive side, Knights on the attack. And that reminder again, they are playing for a spot in the rest of the Atlanta Major. Loser goes home after just one day at the Atlanta Major.
Let's get into these operator bans then. Fury, Dokkaebi, that's the third map that I've seen today and the third Dokkaebi ban that I have seen today. Dokkaebi's ban rate skyrocketing here at Atlanta so far. You know, I'm not saying she was never banned, but a little bit of an outlier sometimes. Hibana is going to go. Interesting choice for Border. Usually for Hibana, you're looking towards things like hatch play. There's not an awful lot on Border, I suppose, when you're attacking downstairs, maybe a little bit. But quite often, it's sort of 50-50 as to whether the defenders open those hatches for their own rotations.
I don't think it's the end of the world because on this map, because there's not a lot of things to like open up as a hard breacher, you can afford to bring along a non-hard breacher and take along a hard breach gadget for hatches, for example. And there's things like Ace on side that you know is going to get picked up. Like we were speaking about this earlier on, we saw a team bring along 3 hard breachers. Ace isn't really a support player like by any convention now. It's more that it's actually an entry, just with a little bit of opening work to do in the early stages of the round. It's why you see a lot of entries around the world playing that operator. So I think here all you're going to see is Ace slot into what her banner would have been in, and there'll be no real questions to be asked. So not 100% sure about the theory behind that ban, but it's a ban that's come through nonetheless. And then Fenrir and Valkyrie coming out as our last two. Fenrir has seen a few bans today. That's the second Valkyrie ban that I've seen as well, for example. We've only cast 3 maps each, Tim.
This is it. There's a long way to go yet. There is a long way to go. And we do tend to see a lot of repetition. We touched on it for maps, but it goes for bans as well. In the first couple of days of majors, we do tend to see, you know, those same trends creeping in from team to team to team because ultimately, you know, people don't want to show too much. And when we start getting a little bit deeper into the tournament, that's when we see those different sort of ideas and strategies come into the surface, especially when we get those new teams come in, of course, of Phase 2. We will have a whole new host of teams joining us at that point of the competition, along with whoever makes it out of Phase 1, which will be half of these teams.
Absolutely. Well, let's get things underway then. Already, I thought we'd lost 4, but now it's just 2. I'm going to say they lost 2 drones. Maybe there's more lost, but we're going to go with 2. And that's the effect of the Assault list. I mean, the frustration, I was talking to Pengu a bit about this yesterday, actually, and the frustration that you get with Solus these days is it does force the attackers to leave their drones outside the building, which largely defeats the purpose of having drones to play with during the prep phase. You may as well just sit there for 45 seconds, have a swig of coffee or whatever your beverage of choice is, and then get into the game, because you really can't pick up much information without throwing those drones away. So maybe with her being so powerful, you'll see more of those bans starting to creep in over time as the tournament goes on as well. But for now, there are just other strong things to think about. That Fenrir especially, a real sticking point for some teams. Monty though, Tim, I think whenever we see a Monty, we know what's going to happen. It's generally going to be the team stacking up for 2 or 3 players, pushing into the same direction behind that Monty and trying to do a little bit of work. BLK opening up with the first kill onto Lycolis.
Yeah, BLK did a great job earlier on, to be fair, against Dark Zero. So expecting big things out of him here. He's a player that Knights can try to work in behind. He's going to get you those openers. Crit just taking a bit of damage as well, face to face with the Monty now. Surely his time is limited. Indeed it is. BLK once again in with the double kill, giving Knights a big advantage on this attack. I tell you what, they are not messing about at this point, but Dark, he manages to shut down 1. If he finds that second shot, maybe things are a little bit different, but BG Man, he can find it, takes out BLK, leaves us in a 2 versus 3.
Dark had a few big rounds earlier against G2, to be fair, is actually what got Fury on the board, and at least 2 of them themselves. So keep an eye out for him. I think he'll probably be one of the key players in this matchup, even though he's running well with the UMP. I mean, we all know what Canadians said about that gun, so you can't really write it off. But 3 versus 2, shield still online, nade still to play with, flashes in back pocket, track still to deploy. There's just so much to bring on this map, and I think when you're thinking about Border, actually, in the current meta we're in, where Gridlock is in because she now has frags and she's got so many tracks to play with, and alongside an air jab, like the air jabs of Nomad, it's going to be horrific to try and get flanks off on this, but that's exactly what they've done, Tim. BG Man has managed to get into a good spot and bring things down to a 2v2, but they are still against the Monty.
Yeah, Diffuser goes down as well, so Knights really have everything in hand. Something that we saw against Dark Zero was them not winning rounds that maybe they should have done sometimes. So I want to see them do this differently here against Fury. You've got it down, you've got your shieldy boy stood in front of it, you've got to lock this round out. 15 seconds left. If Fury want to have the time to be able to do anything about it this. They lose one. It's getting more and more difficult. It's all up to the Warden. BG Man's doing everything he can. Out goes the nade, but no, there comes the final kill. It's going to be up to the Monty just to apply that melee strike with the shield, close things out, and that is a good first round from Knights. Some real aggression from them there. Really well played.
Yeah, well, surprised no one there that BLK's had a good start to the round and really dragged them through with a 3K off the back of it. Good start and good amount of aggression being shown. I really feel part of the concern there was the right idea existed for Fury, but the deployment of it wasn't quite the way to go. We had that player that was sat at the top side, for example, up towards a single window inside of Office, and we had support from Dark, who was playing on Fountain through the soft wall. But what actually happened was when they lost that player at the top side, someone then bolted through in and killed, I think it was Crit, who was playing inside of Office itself, just like this healer. But there was no real ability for Dark to capitalize and get rid of BLK. So he was in a real power position this whole time, uncontested, because Fury weren't throwing enough resources over towards this east side of the top floor. And so it was a bit too easy, I think, for them to get the march in there. I think this time around you've either got to see a stronger defense coming out or be willing to play back and play with greater numbers in a safer position.
Going to be going to the bathroom and Teller's site then this time around, not wanting to double down on Armory. Fury going to mix things up. Got a little bit of a presence downstairs in Customs, not too much of a surprise. And a few players just going for some setup on the top floor. Going to be trying to hold on to Office, we would expect. Dark just looking to prevent a bit of access into CCTV by the looks of things as well, as that floor opened up. Just literally trying to hold on to the entire top floor. Not always the case. We're going to see that castle barricade destroyed in quick fashion by the attackers there, and it looks like I don't think the castle is too keen on staying too solidly in place in CCTV. He's got his rotation, he's dipping in and out of it, he's being cautious.
You know me, Tim, I love seeing castles brought along on any map, really. Just helps really transform the way that sites are playing, unless you can get like a sledge up nice and close, of which there isn't one on side here. There is a bunch of breaching charges being brought along for the vertical play. They've got the ability with the Ash to blow things through, or just plain old standard walk up to it and punch it to death with the fear of being shot in your feet as you go along. And I saw where they had it positioned. It was inside a break room itself, exactly around here, with a very small rotation opened up just behind the Solus, as you saw there. So they're really trying to transform how that part of the map is being played, let them play it a little bit differently and be a bit more mobile to challenge into the attackers as they come running forwards. It does mean that Dark has got a lot of safety here to be able to play in and around this area easily, but from below, Tuku's there, and again, right idea, but the execution simply is not right. How has Tuku hit that second shot as well? Gets one more for himself onto BG Man. CritJ finally gets the trade out, but the damage has been done.
CritJ just didn't know where that next bit of pressure was coming from. He thought it could be a couple of directions. BLK just nearly misses that opportunity. Always worth mentioning, obviously, you know, we're watching in a set resolution with, you know, certain field of view. That's not always the same for the players. So when we see things like that, it may well be that it's not as clear for them on their
Tim's very angelic way of saying ignore Dead. He's a moron, basically.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes it's not quite as clear cut for the players.
Why don't you love me?
Because it's easy for us to scream, oh, you see his head! But maybe they don't always see his head. But BLK gets the kill nonetheless. Knights get the round, and they are, at the minute, looking better than they did against Dark Zero. I've got to say that. They're showing us the best that they showed us against Dark Zero, but then they're not having those sort of errors in the late round where they were giving rounds away that maybe they should have won. But I think, you know, much as I said Knights were going to enjoy, Fury were going to enjoy a little bit more freedom against Knights than they did against G2. It's very true to say it in the reverse as well. Knights are not going to be under the same pressure necessarily that Dark Zero put them under. They're not going to get punished the same, you know, for maybe little mistakes that get made along the way. But Knights so far looking very, very good. 2-0, impressive stuff.
It's BLK season, mate. He's got 6 kills.
Honestly, he was exactly the same earlier on that Haven. He was just ridiculous. So definitely one to watch if Knights continue on in the tournament.
Same again from Fury, though. Clearly they like the setup they had before, and this is what I spoke about, right? With the barricades that came down inside a break room, the one inside of the hallway just lets you be a bit more mobile back in towards Office quite safely. Really on the attacking side is where you look to them and saying, okay, then now you want to try and get rid of them, make them uncomfortable, block off that line entirely. If you take out the one that's inside of the red corridor, for example, you completely deny that ability to rotate from security back in towards Office. So far going ignored, and I can't imagine that will change too much, because given the comp we've got coming into this round of the attack of the Glaz and the Ying alongside each other, that just screams execute heavy to me, Tim. You're going to see this Glaz get into a power position. You'll see smokes and candelas going absolutely everywhere, and he should touch wood, pop off.
Yeah, I'm liking seeing the confidence coming out tonight. They're willing to just push the site. They're willing to just get straight in there and take gunfights and try and get a job done so far in these first couple of rounds. And if they continue, they're 2-0 up against Fury. Fury may well not respond to it. You know, we see this quite often, that teams just come out kind of punch drunk. You know, they come in, everybody's got a plan till they get hit in the face there. And right now, Fury are looking like they've been hit in the face. And, you know, maybe the plan is starting to crumble. Tom's going to be watching from that open window. They are trying to get in for this Archives plant, but for the time being, the toxic babe canisters are going to keep them at bay.
That's what they're trying to do, is draw those out. All they've done is consume half of their utility. They've still got 2 smokes left and still got 2 candelas. Another smoke coming out, so the Glads can start getting to work. This really is where Atlas has now got to dump all of his utility in towards Sandwich to draw some fire and attention over there, and then the execute comes inside of Archives. But no one has made that move, and these keeper barriers, so frustrated. It's 2 or 3 times now Tom has been blocked off, which really renders those smokes largely useless, to be honest.
5 versus 4, then Fury with the advantage here and just stalling out a little bit nice. For the first 2 rounds, they've looked very good, but everything kind of has gone their way. You know, the question is, can they get it done when they start facing that adversity, facing those obstacles? For the time being, Tom, he's just giving it a little jiggle peek. It's not going to matter. There's no jiggle enough to keep him alive there as BG Man shuts him down, but BLK is on hand for the trade. 4 versus 3. Knights keeping themselves in this one, but not really making progress in towards site. They don't have much map control. This is going to be a tough one from here.
But here we go. Candela comes in as well. That'll be a couple of white screens, but not the one inside of Fountain that Atlas is rounding onto. Just so close every time. A few pixels between them. I9 finding one more, but BLK is on the march. He could tear them apart here if they don't know, but they do know. Only one left. It is going to be a first round win for Fury with what looks like a pretty solid defense overall, Tim.
Yeah, it was a little bit better from them. I think they managed to, they've probably just found a little bit of the answer there, and that is they stood up to that early round aggression from Knights. They didn't let them get in and do what they wanted to do, which from Knights was to get in and get that diffuser down. So Fury had the answer to that, and once they'd slowed Knights down, that was when they were able to win the round. So for me, the answer there is, you know, waste a bit of time for Knights. I'd maybe like to see, you know, let's bring a few more traps along. Let's have a Frost in there. Let's have a Legion in there. Let's bring the barbed wire. Let's just do everything we can to try and slow Knights down in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes. Let's make them think on their feet. Let's make them play plan B, plan C. Because to me, their Knights stalled out a little bit. When they didn't get in through that Archives door, when they didn't get that diffuser down, when they wanted it down, that's when they started to struggle, and Fury took full advantage of it.
Absolutely. So you've seen a little bit of both teams there. Again, I always like to give 3 rounds to see teams warm into a game first to really see what's going on. Normally, if a team goes down 0 and 3, you'll then see a tack timeout coming in because you've seen the 3 primary sites that a team wants to play on the defensive side. You'll see a conversation coming in. They'll change some things around. And in what I normally call that second quarter is that's when you really see how a game might play out. But as always, I always say as well, Tim, 2 halves to a game of Siege. You don't know what's going to happen when Fury get onto the attacking side. So we'll wait for that before really drawing full judgment on how this game can close out. It has been BLK season so far in that first quarter. Going into these next couple of rounds, I am hoping we're going to see some players on Fury. BG Man already putting a name in for himself to be someone that can rival that performance.
Well, this is always a problem. If you've got one player, you know, it works both ways. We can look at it and say there's not many kills available for everybody else if BLK is hoovering them up. But at the same time, is it just that BLK is getting them all? And if he stops, nobody's going to step up. And, you know, we'll see. Again, if that's something that Fury can kind of target going through to shutting him down, then maybe they have a little bit of a momentum shift. But we've got to remember, it's difficult defending on border as well. You know, once the attackers get in the building, it's generally possible for them to win those rounds. So, again, any defensive rounds that Fury can come away with, I honestly think if they can get a 3-3 and they move on to the attack, they'll probably feel like they can get the win from there. So Fury right now, can they build on this? Can they get a little bit of momentum? For me, they want another entry kill here, and they nearly get it, and they do, and who else? I9 takes down BLK, and what a great start for Fury.
Finger must have slipped, must have thought he was safe there, but either way, he drops out of ADS, and BLK really pays the price for it too. But great response from Fury. 2 players in close proximity as well, ready to play for the trade if needs be. You're seeing it again here between these two, with Dark and I9 just set up, ready to take firefights together. And then you've also got the Capcan not too far away at the top of main stairs. So a nice little trio here, able to very quickly support each other and play for trades. Knights have been trying to work their way through with 4 players on the east side of the map as well, but they've got to come up against this trifecta of chaos that are ready to deal with them.
Lycolis is just going to be sitting in the showers for the time being as the mute. Look at that, absolutely free. And that is something that we saw of Knights earlier. I'll touch on it a little bit more, possibly further, but they've got one drone left, Des, and playing without information was something that they fell foul of against Dark Zero. Tom does manage to find himself stood in the middle of site, though, and I don't think that Fury were aware of that. Does manage to do some damage. All of a sudden, we've got a shift here. We've got a swing in manpower. It's 3 versus 2, but I9 playing up above on the Solis. He could be a real deciding factor if Tuku isn't able to deal with him.
They needed bathroom control for him to be able to recover the diffuser that's just inside the office window. So sure, you've got some form of site control here, but you've still got Crit to deal with, who's sat lurking in the shadows of the servers.
Oh!
What a shot onto Gyarados! That's amazing! One more left. It's into a 1v1. Tuku coming up against Crit. What a round this has been. So back and forth, but the clock, sadly, working against Tuku here. He's got to try and find his man. Zero idea where he is. No diffuser, no time, no hope of taking this round. Unless, no! Nearly found his man, but just holds on. That's unreal.
I was just about to say...
I was like, no way he vaults us and goes sprinting into his face, but he did. No
I was
way.
just about to say, all Crit needs to do here is just keep himself out of the way and alive. And then all of a sudden, he must have been spotted on
He's doing his best Harry
I
Potter
would say a
impression,
drone,
Tim.
but they only had one left. He just, I don't know, maybe he just drops and thinks, I'm just going to have to check that angle and try and get into sight. But, oh, one way or another, it nearly happened, but Fury able to close it out. That puts them 2-2. And maybe just a little bit slow for them starting into this game, but 2 defensive rounds in a row on border ain't bad.
No.
And they are looking much better in 3 and 4 than they did in 1 and 2.
They're looking very structured up. It's, again, why I like to wait a few rounds before really drawing a full assessment on a team, or at least starting to form a solid opinion, because in those first couple of rounds, the things that I remarked on was the timing was slightly off. Right idea, just wrong execution. They were playing in the right spots, the trades weren't really coming through at the right time, people were looking the wrong way at the wrong moments, little things like that. Whereas these last couple of rounds, I think you've really seen them start to sync up. One, Crit's winning some fantastic firefights. That was disgusting. But he's got 3 kills himself there. Nice little flick on towards the Ash as she comes round in the corner too. But outside of that, I just think looking a lot better, like Cola's getting that kill from below, for example. That really was what led to that end of that round, because the diffuser was then down inside the office window, unrecoverable because they didn't have control of bathroom. Just really that initial instance in the first 45 seconds or so snowballed towards that 1v1 at the very end of the round. Love this, by the way. Sen's coming out. Really don't get to see the operator all that often anymore.
No, not at all.
Anymore, like they were ever popular.
I mean, it's, I think, pretty niche, especially with Warden being played so much.
Yeah.
As I know Warden's not being played here, but, as Warden has been played more and more, I think it's more difficult to build that gadget into, many executes. Tuko is going to be down downside, but how about that? BLK is there not only for the kill, but could pick his man up as well. What great cover coming in from the Ying.
Just wants to drop off there so don't get run out on as soon as the res tries to come through. I mean, that feels like
great from Knights.
I think that's great, but also a bit of a fluff from Crit as well.
Yes.
Like, you know that South Balcony is going to have 2, maybe 3 players on it early in the round, trying to get control, droning out E stairs, checking out break room, things like that. You know full well there's a trade coming in if you try and round that corner and run out to try and get a kill. Like, at this level of play, it's just simply unfathomable that a player would be completely by themselves and they've paid the price for it. Now the march on comes through. It's BLK looking to make use of that rotation, has managed to get in here behind everything, and they won't know because the sound of those candelas going off would have cleared out, or sorry, at least muted over the sound of the vaulting. He could be in a real good position here to do some serious damage.
I still kind of feel like the longer rounds go on, the more chance Fury have got of winning them, and I don't mean that in terms of, yes, defenders win based on time. That's not what I'm saying. I feel like the Knights have won rounds quickly and aggressively, but where they've had to think and pick apart the defense as the round's gone on, they've struggled more. So within the first 2 minutes, diffuser going down, it looks good for them. BLK will be taken out along the way, but it takes the eye off the ball, and Atlas gets that diffuser down. 4 versus 4 now. They've got a setup outside. They're looking pretty good here, playing in and around those sense gadgets as well. Couple of kills come in. This is almost done for Knights. BG Man starts fighting back, gets 1 of 4 that he's going to need, but the clock is ticking down. He's up against it now. Not going to be easy from here.
In the spot where he's got just fine one through the top wall, but gets finished off at the very end. Yeah, I feel like BLK did all the work needed necessary there, getting in upstairs. His job wasn't necessarily to kill everyone inside of office. It was more just to get into a spot to be able to, bless her, Katie, one of our player admins, having to step in there and say, guys, chill, chill. It's cool, it's cool. It's still a big game to play. But it's a position there where BLK was more for running distraction up on the top floor, just being in a position to challenge, not necessarily win a gunfight, but challenge and take their attention away from the hatch and on the plant going down on site itself. So it isn't always about getting kills. Sometimes it's just the attention soak that you have on the other side. It's a technical timeout, so players aren't meant to speak during this time. I think that's the warning they were getting. So give us a couple of minutes and hopefully she'll be back into things. Here's a few replays though, and this is what I mean. Cover is always going to be there. He tried to actually get the impact kill rather than any kind of jump out or anything crazy. Just didn't quite find his man. I think it must have hit the window ledge instead.
Yeah, I think it's all about timing. When you've got a player down, they obviously had a good idea that they were down out there. You want to put that impact nade out, you want to have a look, you want to get that kill, because ultimately, yeah, you want to take them out of the round, but it's all about timing and just maybe trying to predict whether somebody's coming in to try that resuscitation. At the end of the day, you can net 2 kills if you get it right. So it's always a big gamble, but just didn't work out for Grit there. But as I've said, I feel like if a round is won at the minute within the first 2 minutes, it's Knights that win it.
Yeah.
If it comes down to being won in the final minute, it's Fury that wins it. It's like if Knights can't get it done in that first couple of minutes and they're having to sort of go back to the drawing board and adapt, it doesn't really happen for them the same. So for me, Fury just need to focus in round 6, wasting as much time as possible, you know, burning Knights out if you can, get them towards the end of the clock. That's where you've had more success.
Feels to me like it comes off momentum, really, for Knights, is the best way I can describe it. They find one kill, they roll it into a second, they take good space, and it really just snowballs towards that round win. Whereas I think I'm with you, where we've seen Fury slow them down, disrupt them early in the round, that's when you've seen them come out on top. But it's going to be our last round of the half. We are going to customs and supply, Tim. And after that, we'll do a little switcheroo, and Knights will go on to the defensive side, and we'll get to see that second half, the elusive one that I keep on talking about, to see what Knights can bring to this map. Castle on side once again, though. Again, seeing there's an awful lot in this half of Fury, just really helping to transform how parts of the map are played, make it easier for the defenders to roam in certain areas, to open up more mobile corridors where you know you're not about to get tagged at long range. So seeing more of that once more.
10 seconds to insertion.
Just got, again, that utility to stop the information game. Knights have struggled against Dark Zero. We saw it going in sometimes, not aware of everybody's position, not playing in behind enough information. We've seen rounds here where they've had 1 drone remaining, and again, very limited utility in terms of that information game. So we've got the Mute, we've got the Mozzie. They're going to be trying to lock down that top floor, I would imagine. We will have quite a few of those gadgets, because what that's doing is creating a lot of black spots. It's creating a lot of difficulty for Knights to go in. They can't get the drones in, and they've got to go through and face check things. So straight away, we've got the Brava drones going in, looking to grab informational gadgets, looking to grab those cameras, you know, looking to level the playing field in those terms. Oh, the nade just misses.
Dangerously low, and there's 2 of them there as well. I mean, the C4's in place, but they just want to get rid of this mute jammer, which I think they'll find out. It's still there. C4 over the top. Atlas almost losing his life as well. Down to half HP. A real scrap over jail so far. It's feeling like hell in a cell, Tim.
Yeah, it really is. BG Man's going to be holding that wall tight with the bandit, but super low health at the minute. I assume he got hit by some of the nade damage as it came in to clear out that mute jammer. And we have a little exchange of bullets, but no damage done in either direction. Atlas did take that damage from the nitro along the way. BG's going to actually dip himself a bit deeper into sight now to try and keep himself safe. And again, this Brava drone has just been raining around side, just trying to get every bit of electronics that they can.
Yeah, got a couple so far as well, and Hopsfield is looking for more. Not too many to really find, only the one really available for hacking when you look at the secondary gadgets. Outside of that, it's jammers, it's pests, it's whatever else you want it to be. Will instantly destroy any of the bandit batteries that are found. Only 2 have been deployed and used so far in the round. 2 more remain in back pocket. And there is a C4 still for Lycolis to make good use of. BLK getting himself into a good position. Crit being flashed to high heaven, and will try and scramble towards the hatch, but simply cannot get there. And BLK going to find himself another angle to get down onto this ground floor here and give a little bit of threat onto the other side. But I9 is lurking. They've clearly missed this one, so he hasn't been droned out.
Crit just looking like he got up in the middle of the night there, just groping around trying to find that hatch, but couldn't get himself down it. Dark does manage to take out BLK, but cannot find himself a second. I9 looking to get involved as well, finds one nearly inside of Archives, then nearly finds one inside of Armory. He's doing a great job of just locking down this top floor, and it's going to be something that Knights need to clear out. We're into that final minute that I spoke about, Des, and that's where you feel like Fury have been the strongest so far.
It's such a killer, really, because I9's been in a couple of positions this game where he could have had a freebie or two, but that's the third time I've seen him miss what feels like a really easy kill to get. Yeah, that A should be dead to rights. The man's basically stationary. He's whiffed it a little bit, and sure, he's wasting time, but they can start looking in towards the side. Tuku almost having his head taken clean off his shoulders, but somehow is still standing. Lycolis rotating away, has been dropped onto the other side. Down he goes, and just like that, they've got the control that they need. There's still 2 left. The castle comes raining on in. They've got to get him down, Tim. There's only 5 seconds left to play. Goes to try and find one. It's a 3 versus 1. Plant is going down, and BG Man finds what he needs. Finds the man with the diffuser. They take the round win.
And we stay consistent. If it comes into that final minute and Knights have to scramble, that's when they have the difficulty getting it done. At the end there, 3 versus 1, and I know that it's difficult when you're at the end of the clock and the diffuser's going down and it only takes 1 bullet to stop it, but there just seemed to be a little confusion in that Knights team. There was 3 people sort of spinning around. 1 went for the diffuser. They didn't really know where the last defender was, and it was just all a little bit chaotic. And again, Fury were able to take advantage of that. I always love those finishes. I always come back to the one I remember for Pino, 1v5 on the top of Cafe, and it took 1 bullet to win a 1v5, and he just hit that headshot through onto the planter. Same situation there, just sprays down the plant spot, and that shows good communication on Fury's side, because they've already stopped that plant going down once. They know where the diffuser is. It's been communicated. So BG Man knows. He's been told the diffuser is between 2 metal desks. So then all he has to do is spray in that direction, and he gets the job done. Well played from Fury. 3-3 off on the defense. That's not a bad start for them.
I really feel like it was a bit of a Hail Mary from Knights, just throwing everyone in towards site itself and just praying that through sheer numbers they come out on top. And really they did, but BG Man with that beautiful angle, as you say, Tim. We do get that side swap. I'm curious to see how Fury attack, because their attacks on Consulate earlier, bearing in mind, Consulate is their favorite map. They've played it 3 times since the start of September. They've won it every single time, 7-2, 7-0, 7-2. G2, it's not exactly their most popular map. They took them there and really made them look silly, because Fury's attacks were just a little bit lethargic, a little bit slow. You know, this is what we've seen as the theme, I think, so far of the day, is some of the weaker teams that we have here at Play-Ins are just... they're very slow in the first 90 seconds of the round at droning and getting map control, for example. Not always a bad thing, but you've got to leave yourself enough leg room to actually execute and close a round out as well. So I'm really keen to see how Fury do on their coordination as a team when it comes to attacking here on Border.
Doc's just going to be opening up that triple wall a little bit with the skeleton key, just trying to create an angle, make it uncomfortable inside of Office. Fury are, of course, attacking onto Armory to start with here. That's going to be the primary site choice for Knights. A couple of interesting... I mean, we quite often see the Doc inside of CCTV, so that's not too unusual.
This is, Tim. This is like
the Tuku on the alibi, I sort of look at and I think, yeah, maybe you like the gun, I guess. You know, it can be used as a little bit of denial for players coming in through windows, a little bit of a deterrent. But other than that, I think Tuku really needs to be looking to get some kills to be getting the most out of that operator selection.
Here's this like classic slow start that I mentioned from Fury. You know, half the round's gone and they're only just starting to get things opened up. They're only just starting to really make a push in. Sometimes, though, that one push in can be enough, and it's I9 getting rid of the Dark outside of CC. That's one of the big key anchors that you need removed, really, and should open up a lot of control on this top side of the map as they start thinking about the site.
It just gives them that beachhead to work in from I9, as you say, going well now, really starting to wake up. Tuku does shut down Dark. I suggested on the alibi he needed to be finding them kills, and he is going to get the first. Might need some more, though, but he wasn't going to find them as Lycolis manages to take him down with a headshot. Tom peeks around, finds one from Fountain, just brings it back a little bit. 2 versus 3 now, playing the shotgun on the tight angles. Can he find himself another? No, not quite within range. Jade finds one elsewhere, but 1 versus 2, he's fighting hard, but shut down in sandwich. It's going to be Lycolis with that final kill, and that's another round for Fury. 4-3 now on the scoreboard. They take the lead, and I feel like that could be a little bit of a blow for Knights.
Could well work out to be that way. I mean, again, I mentioned that it was the slower start from Fury that I was a little bit nervous that we'd just see the round slowly grind out, be a panic finish. But really, I think once they got rid of the Dark, they understood, at least on the defensive side, they had to go on the aggressive. They were losing a lot of top floor control. The only things they really had left were the sites themselves. Even Fountain was looking a bit precarious, which is why Tom made that play once he got the first kill to blitz on forward, try and convert it into a second 1v1 before he got himself grouped up on. So nice play by Fury. Really, that dot kill for me opened up the entirety of that top floor, though. Knights probably want a bit more support in those key areas if they want to hold on to things like CC.
So we're going to go to Ventilation and Workshop for our second defensive site for Fury. They've got the Frost on board. Sorry, it's the second defensive site for Knights, second attacking site for Fury. They've got the Frost on board, so they are looking to play that game of slow down a little bit, just try and force Fury to clear underneath every... We saw this work, actually, the double Frost mat. I think it was in exactly this location, although I'm not sure that second one is actually going to go down there without a little bit of reorganisation. But we saw the reason, if you're wondering why those two Frost mats, why place two under one window. As somebody comes through, they do have a good opportunity to shoot out one beneath there, but you cannot get two. So it sort of almost guarantees, if they're not dealt with before coming in through that window, that one is going to snap shut on the ankle of somebody.
And so there's a little cross angles in towards West Main setup. Tuku's definitely in hot water here, is the way I describe it. He has got 3 players, not that he knows right now, but he will very soon. 3 players circling around CC, and once again looking to be a bit of a contestation point for the attacking side. But you just saw it there. For Knights, they've got a player playing on 90, supporting inside of that room as and when required. So it's not just the one player. Great run out coming on through, and Tom's going to get that one for free.
Yeah, it just goes to show the power of Solis there. You can go out there confidently with information for yourself, knowing exactly where those shots need to go. BG Man does manage to close down Jerry with a headshot, leaving the Frost off the board 4 versus 4, but they do need to deal with Tom underneath. The Solis hasn't been approached yet. He knows that that diffuser is on the ground, so he knows they're going to have to play in there at some point. Fury seem to be ignoring him a little bit at the minute. They've got to go in, they've got to find him, they've got to get that kill, because otherwise this round is not likely to be theirs. They are still concentrating on that top floor clearance for the time being, but they just need to be very, very aware of that Solis.
Just a little too much to care about, and this is something I remarked earlier on when I think about teams like Sonics, is that every player is always doing something at seemingly every moment. They've got so much control, they're taking incredibly quickly, whereas here you've got a couple of players on the side of Fury. You can sit there and say, yeah, well, they're on drones, but equally there's a couple of players just kind of, you know, staring at the colour of the lights on the ceiling, for example, right now, waiting for the next call to come through on what they should do. And it's that wasted time, that wasted efficiency that is going to bite them. You know, they're in a spot where they've got now this top floor control established, they've pushed their way forward. Knights said, you know what, we're happy in a 4v4, we'll back out. We know because of the Solis that this diffuser is still down and outside. Now they've got it on side. This is where Tom could be a real headache causer if he gets this right.
Yeah, he's just waiting on this window. He knows that they're going to be playing in there once they've picked the diffuser up. They don't have much of a choice with 50 seconds left. So he's just waiting. If they give him an opportunity, he's double knocked that barricade already. So if they go on to drones, he's just going to jump out and he's going to get himself another kill on the outside of the map. And they can't allow that to happen. They need to be very, very careful. Tuku, as you say, just keeping himself off the radar upstairs. He's locked into a little corner and he's just going to wait for his moment. This is really well played by Knights. Really patient.
Getting into West Main takes away so much of that top floor control. Sees his man with the gun at least on the one side. We'll finally get rid of Tom. He's such a rat to deal with. Yeah, this is the problem. And this is what I meant. Tuku springs into action, goes across the gap almost, and just finds two up on that top floor. The fact that he was ignored inside of CC, they had this control earlier on, but he's managed to get himself into a great spot, probably through hopping up through the hatch as well. Didn't see it happen, but gets into a great spot where not only can he cut off West Main, but as you saw, he can cross in towards that other side of the map and get those couple of kills to close the round out. Between him and Tom, just an absolute headache for Fury in that round, and they've got to be so much better at keeping space when they take it.
Yeah, Tom and Tuku have done a fantastic job between the two of them there, basically of doing the same thing, and that is just putting themselves in a position that Fury had no real way of dealing with, or at least they didn't, you know, focus enough on dealing with, and they punished them. Simple as that. Tom would have done more, you know, had they gone on drones, for example, outside of main door, they'd have been in serious trouble. They eventually got in there and killed him, but there was 25 seconds left on the clock. It was just too little too late. And then, as you say, Tuku just played that absolutely beautiful, and, you know, is the best operator for the job. Getting that Oryx sprint across, you're going to expose yourself for an absolute limited amount of time, if at all, and it just worked perfectly. So really well played from Knights there to level things up 4-4, and this is turning into one of the best games of the day for me. This has been a fantastic map so far.
It has been absolutely wonderful. I thought it was pretty scrappy, to be fair, between the two, and that's exactly what we're getting, right? Sat 4-on-4, it's hard really to see which way this map goes. We've had rounds where we've said great things about one team, then the next round we're praising up the other as well. It really is back and forth. If you're wondering about Adelaide, quick tech issue here. Once that's resolved, straight back into game.
Yeah, we'll be getting back in any second, no doubt about it. I think it's going to be happening pretty soon. So, as you say, just for me, it's now about consistency for one of these teams. It's about delivering those good moments that we've been seeing, but you know, round to round to round, rather than coming in and having a big round, you know, like Knights have done there. They now need to back it up. We need a second good round. We need a third good round. We need somebody to go on a little bit of a run. Otherwise, we're heading in one direction and one direction only, Des. You know, and I look at it and I think we haven't had any overtime today on day one, and we've only cast one map. That's unusual, though, for us to not have overtime on day one, so it wouldn't surprise me to see one of these maps between these two teams go all the way, and Border is looking like it could be the one at the minute.
It could, it very well could. Fine, turns out it's a quick rehost coming in. That is our technical timeout, so it shouldn't be too long now. I'm working our way through it. It's why the players are not meant to be talking just yet. We'll get things back underway for you in just a few moments. It does kind of beg that question already. I'm starting to think about Skyscraper is, to be fair, I always used to say Skyscraper is my favorite map, but Nighthaven lately I think has become my go-to. I'm still going to love watching Skyscraper, but I'm already starting to think about how I could see these two teams translating onto there. And where you've seen some of the backstabby play coming out, especially in that last round from Knights, looking to really aggressively retake ground and get cheeky with the Solus, I think they'll have an absolute field day on Skyscraper because it is such a huge map with so many rat spots that unless Fury are like spot on the money with droning, which they've already shown they slipped up on a little bit, I think Knights could really cause some trouble for them on the defensive side, and I imagine that's where they'll start, given it is Fury's map pick.
Yeah, I think Knights have bounced back well. I think out of the two teams, they have maybe bounced back a little better than Fury have. You know, looking at the results that they had earlier, this is a different Knights really to the one that we saw against Dark Zero. And like I said, I think they're just taking advantage of that, that freedom that they've got.
Well, while we wait for this timeout to be sorted, we're going to go to a quick content piece. Back in a minute.
Hey, I'm Dominique Clément, game designer on Rainbow Six Siege. If you want to get ready to confront the next addition to the Siege roster, here are a few advice. Maverick's Flaming Gadget might be that one tool you can always rely on when it's time to melt through the enemy's defense. Training your sharpshooter skills, and more specifically, with gadgets like Zophia's Lifeline, will come in very handy when it comes to countering the effect of her fresh new face. Finally, it wouldn't be Siege if explosions didn't have an impact on your game. And this season is the perfect moment to review your frag throwing skills, because a well-placed bang might just be what you need to clear you and your team a path to victory. That's all for now, but make sure you tune in to the full reveal to get all the information on what's coming next season. See you there. Hello, I'm Dominique Clément, game designer on Rainbow Six Siege. The next season is right around the corner. And if you don't get the latest operator on release, you might still want to review your ABCs on some of the operators already available today in the game. The Electric Bandit, the Wise Kaid, and the Quiet Mute will be welcoming a new troublemaker into their ranks, ready to give breachers a few headaches. Working out your pulse and Solus muscles will ensure you'll be able to provide invaluable intel to this new operator. And let's not forget about Ella, Fenrir, and our other trap operators, who each bring a unique ingredient that can be used in crafting some really crazy strategies with this new operator. So jump into the game and review your basics with these operators, so you'll be ready to synergize with the new operator when it comes out next season. See you then.
I'm not going to lie, Tim. I've been so excited about the whole tournament getting underway that I completely forgot about the thought of a reveal in a couple of weeks.
You know how much I love a reveal.
Oh, I love a reveal.
You know how much I love a reveal. I always like to try and I avoid everything I can until the actual. I like to sit down and watch the reveal with everybody. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So I'm.
You know what my favourite one was?
About that.
Was it SI 2022? Whichever one it was. We went
was
to go and
so good.
sit.
We were in
we went to
the
go and sit in the
arena.
crowd, and they announced the house rework.
It must have been
And everyone
2020. It was the last
lost
one.
their shit.
It was when we cast the group stages in 2020, and we were obviously there for the tournament afterwards, and we were in the arena. Yeah, it was 2020.
It was just insane.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. It's just such a big community moment. Just like everybody's interested to see what's coming.
I love the like the
it.
varying responses from the crowd, like with the frost rework. When they first heard it, everyone was like, "Boo!" And then as they explain the actual mechanics of the rework, like because the thing the line they opened with, bless them, was something like it'll no longer like they can get themselves up self-revive. And everyone was like, "No self-revive!" And they're like, "Yeah, but she can't run anymore." And it's like a blood trail for the rest of the round. They're like, "Oh, it's actually pretty good." And I just love the kind of seeing the energy vary. But either way, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that one live here in Atlanta as well. We get exciting for that one. However, we've got a game to finish here first and foremost, Tim. 4-4 between Fury and Knights, if you are just joining us. It's been a pretty close affair. We had a 3-3 first half, and then a round taken by either team here on Fury's attacking half. Really hard to call which way it goes. You're seeing both teams show a little bit of magic between different players. BLK, especially on the side of Knights, was real magic in those first few rounds. But we've seen players like BG Man, Crit, Dark really start to step up for the side of Fury as well. Okay, we're having another rehost apparently.
We're just going to have a quick rehost. We'll get this
rehost that rehost, boy.
we'll get this ironed out as quickly as we can, and we'll get back into things. Yeah, so for me, no, like I said, it's about consistency. Knights need to chain a few rounds together. If I just have a look back through, Knights 1-2, Fury 1-2, and then it's sort of, we haven't had anybody get more than like 2 rounds back to back. And if somebody can just come in and grab that now, you know, Knights have got 1. If they get another 2, then they're looking at being on match point, and that's, you know, a good place to be sat for them.
Well, we could sit here and talk about these guys, or we can take a look at the Copenhagen after movie. Which one would you rather do, Tim?
I'd love to take a look at the Copenhagen.
Well, let's take a look at the after movie then. Back in a minute.
This is the Blast R6 Major in Copenhagen. Are we ready, Copenhagen? 24 teams from all around the world made the trip here to Denmark.
Okamesh is straight on inside, he finds one, looking for a second. Okamesh is just eating him up for lunch. Gomez, as he plays behind one of the remaining Kiva barricades, to be a big nitro here, and it's massive!
Trying to get ahead of it, spots it moving down the stairs, and there it goes for VP. The free go for VP!
Everything falls to Sploit, down in the 1v2 here. They're both focused on him, no matter!
We are now down to our Elite 8.
Surely not resets! He's making the 1v4 look so winnable! There's no way! Resets to ace to 1v4! Esk is trapped in a corner.
Finesse can collect 1, a second, a third.
Oh, he's just insane!
Something feels a little bit different today. It's Championship Sunday! 24 teams made the trip, 2 remain.
The defense, there comes 1 kill and 2.
It looks like there's one left standing, it's Bolts against his old team. It could not be any more bittersweet.
Are they going to be able to close this out here and now?
I'm known a lot for like speaking my mouth. We always shout at the enemy team, try and make people feel awkward. It's pretty evil when you think about it. Every team at this event fear us.
Tactics of their own to get into other people's heads, saying that they fear them, making people know that they're still strong and ready to win another event.
I try not to hold on to revenge too much the past. If we were to play them again, it would just be like just that urge of competitiveness to beat them.
Definitely don't fear any teams, and I really don't see why G2 would be any different.
Don't we rightfully have an ego? You're coming into the most achieved team that this game has ever seen. Yeah, you should have an ego.
You gotta respect your opponents. Everyone up here is really good. I'm definitely not gonna let that change the way I'm thinking and the way I'm playing.
I'm trying to get people to have a good time, keep energy up, because in the end, energy carries everything into winning.
If we talk about M80, obviously in the most recent Rostermania, they picked up Iconic and then bring Sploit over.
Sometimes you have to let go of players that you care a lot about. It's the result of all the things that we put into it is the winning. That's what you get at the end.
Living with each other is probably one of the best experiences of my life. We're like a big family. Those guys are my best friends.
I joined this roster because of one reason, and that's winning.
You just gotta take their soul. Like, you just gotta destroy them.
Tommy. Yeah, let's go. Come on.
No matter what team you are, no matter how good you have been, if you're not good in the present, you will lose everything.
This is Rainbow Six at its best.
It's definitely better to let the play do the talking, but yeah, tend to stay clear of the people that have big egos.
It's time to make history.
Behind a solid wall, the pings, they're all in his favor. There's a C4, but Souls does not care. One kill away, and it's Volps to die. A new generation pick up where legends left off.
Welcome back. Anna. 3 rehosts.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go, Des. We're ready to go.
At this point, we're in a rehost chain. It's like a rehostception. I don't know how many more we can go through until we really go too far.
Within a rehost.
Within a rehost.
Each should get quicker, though, really, if that was the theory.
Yeah, that's true. In Inception, it was like each layer.
Yeah, each layer is like
an
hour becomes like 10 minutes in the next layer, becomes like a minute in the next layer, becomes like 5 seconds in the next layer. So you've got to be careful, because when you're down like 6 rehosts deep, then like 5 seconds is like 4 hours at the top end. So that's how it works.
So many
We're back in. We're back in the game, Des.
Hang on. Wait until it hits 0.
We're back in the game, Des.
Wait until it hits 0, Tim, please.
Prep phase of round 9. Knights and Fury here on Border. It's map 1 of this best of 3. If you just join us, Knights have won the last round, but it's been very back and forth so far. Neither team able to grab more than 2 rounds at a time. Fury did look like they were maybe taking a little bit of an advantage coming into the second half. It was 3-3 at the split, but then they got that round, went 4-3 up, but then haven't been able to back it up with a further attacking win. Knights managing to keep things level, so this one looks like it could go the distance. Both of these teams really going toe-to-toe at the minute, just raining blows on each other and able to answer back once the other looks like they're getting somewhere. So a great game that we're having so far.
Yeah, indeed. It genuinely has been really fun. And this is what I've been excited about, is I know this is seen as it is the elimination match. It is the weaker of the 2 teams that we have in every group taking place in these best of 3s that we've seen, both the ones that happened earlier and the ones that are happening now. But that does mean that you're seeing still quite an even level of competition, which makes things very, very fun. And you get to see some of the players normally you wouldn't see from around the world. Now, straight away, we're getting ourselves started up and trying to work on in. You can see someone's just poked their head just inside of the office windows. Tuku waiting to spring out and cause a little bit of chaos, but opportunity not presenting itself just yet.
No, I think he doesn't know necessarily exactly where that push is going to come from, so does the right thing, just going to hold his position for the time being. He's got that long angle through into break room, just trying to challenge all these different areas at the minute. Sees the pressure coming towards the top of these stairs. Like always, he's going to find himself down. He's going to find himself finished off by a very long-range shotgun shot from Tom there.
What a right cheeky monkey he's been. Solus in the previous round, now muting this one as well, just trying to poke his head out and cause a few headaches. C4 in hand. Now alley-oop over the top. No one to be found, as they are not quite present. I'm afraid they were outside the building. I9 Really's got to get himself involved in this game as well. Has missed a couple of real freebies. It's Dark's turn to miss out on the freebie this time round at long range. Not managing to collect the Azami playing inside a CC.
Just a reminder of the stakes on this game. The loser will go home. This is an elimination match, which is why it's best of 3, 3 versus 2. There's a couple of kills coming quickly for Knights. Tuku does find himself down though, 2 versus 1 effectively now as Fury find themselves a little bit of an advantage. 1 minute 15 left on the clock, Des. They've plenty of time, but what can the Azami do here? Just creeping into CCTV. I'm not sure that they're aware the diffuser's going down, and for the time being, Crit J is on the cover. Nade comes in. I think they know exactly where Jerry is. He's trying to push his way around, but no, Crit J with the pistol takes him down, and Fury managed to halt any momentum that Knights were trying to build. It's 5-4 now.
Crit J just styling on them kids. Pistol out there for that closing 1v1-2. All right, we get some momentum building. Fury back in that driver's seat, up to 5 and 4. It's hard to explain your theory of the whole round 9 is the most pivotal round earlier to Pengu. About how it can go towards being 6-3 or it can be 5-4.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Open to massive gulf of 3 rounds or 1.
3 rounds or 1 round is huge at this point in the game. You know, you've either got no mistakes left or you've got a lot of breathing space.
That is when the score is 5-3, obviously, and here now it's more to 5-4, but it's still kind of relevant because it keeps things pretty tight, but Fury are the ones who feels are at least in some kind of control. Quick tactical timeout here. This one, I believe, coming for Knights, who their coach clearly feels, look, we've only got a couple more chances to get this right. Otherwise, we lose this map. We're going into Skyscraper next. It's Fury's map pick. You know, we've got to win border. I imagine it's probably a very abbreviated version of what he was telling them now, just to try and get the boys excited.
Yeah, I think so. So we will finish that off and get back into game. We're going to have a couple of replays coming in. We can see Crit J doing the work with the pistol towards the end of that round. Great job, really. You know, sometimes you've just got to make the choice and stick with it and live with it. There you go. He just gets a little peek of the Azami, I think, which just helps the situation. Knows where that push is going to come from, so can pre-fire and take the fight before it arrives.
Alrighty, downstairs we go into bathroom, Tim. This is an interesting one. All right. How this one plays out, looking towards that C4 on Tom, and I'm just thinking you're going to see him hovering out towards JL and just trying to catch whoever it is that's trying to work their way up onto the west side of the building and across. Do I think you'll see him blitzing out? Probably not, but trying to fish with the C4, 100%. So really where I think this is going to come down to is the damage that Fury can do onto him before he gets too disruptive in towards them. Quite a few trap operators on side as well. You've got the Fawn obviously coming in, the Legion there, just a number of things that can trip up or slow down Fury here if they're not too careful. So they do need to be respectful of this setup coming out of Knights.
Yeah, playing the pulse underneath in Customs is a great choice, really. There's a lot of availability there to get that vertical nitro into CCTV and break. You can see already that Fury are pushing in towards that position. You know they're going to try and take CCTV and break. So, yeah, it can be really, really useful here. But opening jail wall is going to be a big part, and especially opening passport wall as well is going to make it very difficult. Tom, he needs to make a decision now, and it looks like that decision is to Scarper.
Yeah, I think really he's here for information, right? Wants to keep himself alive here. Doesn't want to do anything stupid by hanging around too long and trying to scan that 4th player that he hasn't yet found. I mean, saying that, it's like Olis to blitz in and already remove 2 players incredibly quickly. Not a dream position to be in if you're Knights here, knowing that, again, you are down 4-5, that you've now lost 2 players. Looking pretty miserable. And you can see that line of destruction that the round gadget has left through that soft flooring.
Yeah, we're going to have Dark just holding that long angle down in towards side. Tom just runs right on into I9. As you say, absolutely free. It just doesn't feel like Knights really know where this pressure is coming from, where the next fight is going to be finding them. Atlas is going to take down I9 there, gives them something to work with, I guess, but not much of a foundation as Dark is there. Crit J gets the last. That's going to be round Fury. Not only is it the round, but it's also now map point, Des. And there is a real opportunity for Fury to take away that first map. I suggested if they were to take border, you feel good about them coming into Skyscraper. This could be a 2-0 for Fury if they can keep this going.
It could, but you just can't write it off. The number of times we've seen teams take each other's maps in a best of 3 is absolutely crazy. For me, though, that was the beautiful irony of a Pulse running around a corner blind and just being taken out by a player that has clearly been sat there waiting for him to rotate through into him. So a little bit of a biter. Need to see a bit more composure being shown. I think ultimately, like Olis, though, getting those early 2 kills was what really set that round up. Here we go then, Tim. Round 11. It is potentially the final one if Fury can get the business done.
Could be. And to be honest, over the last couple of rounds, since those bits of technical problems that we had and the bit of back and forth getting back into the game, Fury have actually looked really good since coming back. They've won 2 rounds in a row. As I've said so far, no team has been able to win 3 in a row so far here on Border, so Fury are going to have to do that if they want to lock this out here and now. But it doesn't really matter too much if they don't. They've got 2 opportunities to get this one shut down, get Border, and move themselves on to Skyscraper. Like I say, looking good so far over the last couple of rounds. I don't know, that technical pause just seems to have steadied them a little bit, and they've come back in with a bit of a renewed vigour.
It has, but now you're going to see the real Punisher coming on the other side in the form of that Monty. You've got the Capitao on side as well. This just feels like you're really throwing the kitchen sink at them at this point. Like, Capitao I know isn't really seen as one of the stronger operators in the game. Personally, I think he's ridiculously powerful. The fact you've got 2 smokes, 2 AoE clearers in the form of the firebolts, a decent weapon, 3 speed, like, brings so much to a lineup. And I know it's kind of niche where teams make use of him, but really think when you see one on side, you've got to be so mindful of keeping him alive until you get towards a critical location where you want to make use of him. But come on, man. Like, it's a 1 speed. Like, you should hear this guy from a mile away. At least BLK gets one back, but Tim, they're already in and planting. Okay. C4, alley-oop, but the Monty blocks it, so who cares?
Well played. Well played. That's going to be the diffuser down. Monty stood in front of it, as you've said, Des. This really should be Fury's now. BLK, however, manages to pick up BG. Man, he's been a little bit quiet over the last few rounds compared to how he has been throughout the game so far. But maybe he can save his biggest moment for last 2 versus 3 now. Atlas managing to get the last of those kills. There's the jump out. They're going to get it done somehow. Knights managed to turn it around. We thought it was looking like it was over there, Des. They got the diffuser down, but no, Knights, they fight tooth and nail to get that one done, and still no team can lock down 3 rounds in a row.
What's BG Man doing, like, holding an aggressive angle? There is literally 0 need. You've got a Monty feeding you information for free that will tell you when to swing, when someone's getting too aggressive, when they've gone past the point of no return, that they are no longer set to be safe. I mean, I was saying GG because I don't think I've ever really seen a team lose from that kind of position, but somehow Fury have just shown that it is very possible. We could be on for overtime, Tim. It is heading that way.
One more round is all it will take. It has to go in the direction of Knights. We are at least going to see all 12 here. Fury, they're going to be kicking themselves after that one, I think. Like you said, as diffuser down, Monty stood on top of it. It's really not a position that you should be losing from. I think they just, when Knights got aggressive, then it looked like Fury panicked a little bit. When they were willing to get up in the Monty's face and try and pressure him, it was like, oh, we need to start finding some kills. We need to protect the Monty. When really, all they needed to do was just sort of let the Monty back away. Like you say, if they hadn't been so aggressive, they could have had that jump out covered. It's a common jump out. You go out of office window to shoot the Monty in the back. It's like, it's such a common thing. So just make sure you've got that window covered, and honestly, you win the round. Like, let the Monty do the rest.
Well, one that they'll be kicking themselves for if they now go on to lose this map, but Knights have been handed a golden opportunity. Admittedly not handed, they had to fight for it, and they played it extremely well, but they've now got a golden opportunity to still win this map. On the attacking side, nothing too flash coming out in terms of lineup here, sort of standard stuff that we're used to seeing. Across on the defensive side, I'm looking towards BLK on that Oryx, Tim. We already saw some work that was done by Tuku in round 8, getting inside of CC and being able to charge across into West Main and slaughter 2 players that stood there waiting. There is every opportunity for him to work some magic in this round, so I do want to keep a close eye on him because he has been having a fantastic map so far.
Just going to have the track stinger thrown out outside of Archive's window there. I think just looking to prevent the jump out that would, of course, hinder this position that they're trying to play on the external east stairs. Dark has managed to get inside of CCTV. The rotation was there, so Knights will get out of that position unscathed. Tom, once again, same spot that we saw him playing previously, down in around jail and supply, just trying to get any information, really. Is there anybody droning? Is there any gadgets being used out there? Is there anything that I can give to my team to tell them that they are playing on this side of the map at the minute? There's not going to be anything.
Absolutely not, no. But slowly does it. Again, for Fury, it's the remark that I had earlier was their map clear wasn't the quickest. Here, not really the end of the world, given the proximity to site that Border often invites. Only a couple of rooms to work through before you are staring at a plant opportunity. Not tons of map really to work your way through. And things like, BG Man playing on the gridlock really helps with that. So many tracks that you can just toss down and stop jump out, stop rotations, or at the very least, give yourself information that one of those 2 things is coming. just makes the game a hell of a lot easier for the attack inside. They've still got nades on side to play with. They've still got the juice coming in from the Finker as well. Loads to work with here.
They know that they've kind of got their army stuck here in the corner. Can't really move away. Tuku did manage to actually drop back a bookcase deeper, so could maybe escape with some quick movement. Nade comes in, and I think they were thinking they might just get the kill onto Tuku there, but no. His swift feet had been able to get him out of dodge. BLK comes around. He's going to be able to make his way back to site by the looks of things, potentially. He's just trying to support Tom for the time being, but he does the job. Manages to flip over to the pistol, gets the kill. Atlas manages to find one as well. 4 versus 3. Knights are holding on.
35 seconds to go as well. Yeah, still freestanding into the 4 on the side of Knights, but Garadeus dangerously low at this point. Dark stepping up as the hero, finds one. A second with a well-timed nade. They might have just done enough here, Tim, to drag it away, despite Knights being 4v3 a couple of seconds ago. It's down to a 2 versus 2. Every opportunity for either side to walk away with this one. Dark whiffing a few shots onto Tom's feet. He dances around. BG into one more. It's all down to Tom. He's been the great disruptor, but he can't do it. BG nets the 3K. They take border. Skyscraper awaits.
Fury managing to get it done at the very end there. They had the opportunity to get that diffuser down again. They threw it away in round 11 when they had it on the ground, but not this time. They managed to lock it out. Dark doing great work from up on the balcony just to prevent that pressure mounting, and that will get it done. Fury take map 1 of border. They give themselves the advantage.
What I love is just seeing different players there really work some magic. You know, BLK we saw on one side, especially early game. BG, a heroic last round, but Crit, the young gunner coming into this team, has worked some magic there. Cannot wait to see how things go on Skyscraper. Let's go to a quick break. Back in just a few.
It's time to make history.
One behind a solid wall, the pings, they're all in his favor. There's a C4, but Souls does not care. One kill away, and it's Volks to die. A new generation pick up where legends left off.
Hey, I'm Dominique Clément, game designer on Rainbow Six Siege. If you want to get ready to confront the next addition to the Siege roster, here are a few advice. Maverick's Flaming Gadget might be that one tool you can always rely on when it's time to melt through the enemy's defense. Training your sharpshooter skills, and more specifically, with gadgets like Zophia's Lifeline, will come in very handy when it comes to countering the effect of her fresh new face. Finally, it wouldn't be Siege if explosions didn't have an impact on your game. And this season is the perfect moment to review your frag throwing skills, because a well-placed bang might just be what you need to clear you and your team a path to victory. That's all for now, but make sure you tune in to the full reveal to get all the information on what's coming next season. See you there.
I want M80 to be one of the most successful and dominant esports organizations in the world.
When the manager Golden reached out for a coaching position, I thought, why not? What could hurt?
You just got to take their soul. Like, you just got to destroy them.
It's definitely better to let the player do the talking, but tend to stay clear of the people that have big egos.
Energy carries everything into winning.
This is Rainbow Six at its best.
Try not to hold on to revenge too much the past. If we were to play them again, it would just be like just that urge of competitiveness to beat them.
We know our potential, we know what we are capable of.
The opponents could definitely take the title from us.
The past is the past, but in the moment you have everything you need to do to be better.
welcome back to the Atlanta Major. We're going into map 2 in just a moment. It is Skyscraper between Knights and Fury. Fury securing map 1 after what looked like a... what's the word I'm looking for here? Something affair. What's the word I'm after?
Tight. Close.
Nah, there's a special word for it.
Even?
No. You're useless.
Thank you.
A very balanced affair, very even affair, you could call it. It was 4-on-4 to a point, and then Fury... Shut up.
You had your chance.
Shut up, Tim. And then Fury caught their way back into it and really just accelerated themselves ahead. Knights, though, giving them a good challenge. It was 7-5. Still plenty of chance here that we can see this go all the way to 3. Here are a few highlights for you, in case you're wondering just what went down.
Yeah, each team had the big moments, didn't they? And each team had a few mistakes as well. It's fair to say Fury could have wrapped it up in round 11. They had the diffuser down, they had a Monty stood in front of it, but Knights were able to get the job done. So, you know, both gave the other opportunities. Ultimately, I think Fury just took a couple more and got it done. The thing is, that was Knights' map choice. We know map choice isn't always the most critical thing. We expect teams to be able to play a decent selection of maps. We expect them to have a reasonable map pool, but it now does leave Fury with an advantage coming in here. They're going into their map choice on Skyscraper. You know, they know that they can get it done. They know that they move on to tomorrow if they get this win, and they're not going to want to go to map 3. They don't want to take it to Clubhouse. So I think Fury could be a difficult team to beat on this map too. I think we might just see them stretch their legs a little bit more.
That's it. I mean, I'm not forgetting going into tomorrow is going to be a real hard affair for whichever team makes it there. We have G2 coming up against DZ in the morning, best of 1, winner of that also qualifies, but the loser faces off against the winner of this matchup right here. I don't know about you, but in either Fury or Knights' shoes, I wouldn't really want to play G2 or DZ that early in the competition. There's the whole thing around you got to beat the best to be the best, but I'd rather wait for beating the best until later
beat him
on,
in the
to be
final.
honest. Yeah, exactly, in front of a live
then
crowd with all the SI points when we're guaranteed to go and the prize money that comes with it. It is a little bit of a rough hand they've been dealt, but you've got to do it at some point.
I think the reality of the situation is you look at this group and it's difficult to make an argument that doesn't see Dark Zero and G2 both going through. You know, the fact that one of those two teams is going to face an elimination match tomorrow is probably not a surprise in itself, because logistically it just has to work out that way, but you still just think, you know, it's going to be very difficult for either of these two teams to get their way back through. We've seen them both play that caliber of team today, and in honesty struggle a little bit, so they're going to have to really sort of turn up with one of those all-time performances tomorrow if they want to keep themselves in it. But I tell you what you can do, Des, and that is all you can do is win against the team that is in front of you, and that's what both of them face now. Worry about Dark Zero, worry about G2 tomorrow. Right now, you've got to beat the ones in the server, and it's Fury who have the advantage in those stakes.
Absolutely, and for now it's got to take place on Skyscraper. Fury will start on the attacking side. It was their map pick, and Knights opted to start on the defense. No surprises at all for a map like Skyscraper. Bans first and foremost to get through. We've seen a fair amount of Solus in that last game. Thought we may see a ban for that coming out. We may yet still. But Monty first and foremost taken away by Knights.
Yeah, I think Knights need a 4-2 here, to be honest. Fury did play in behind the Monty last time, so I think Knights are leaning into that. They know that sort of top of Black Stairs area, trying to push into meeting. That can always be a difficult place to hold on to if you've got a Monty moving in. So I think that's probably quite a smart ban there. We're going to have Ying going as well. That's going to be Fury's choice. And then we'll move on to our defenders, I would imagine so.
See if Ephemeria Valkyrie maybe. Seems to have kind of been the go-to. Ying, obviously we saw it allowed through in the last map as well, but I've seen it banned a good few times today too. You know, just one of those operators that you just do not want to be dealing with. It's going to be a bandit ban coming out from Knights. That is an interesting one. I imagine that's more to make sure things like the single VIP wall can be opened up, that the external facing walls can stay closed inside of Geisha, for example, inside of Exhibition Office side. All these different things that weigh into it, and in fact that's exactly what we're going to start things off with. It's going to be Office and Exhibition in that first round without the Bandit on side. Do of course still have the Kaid available, but it just makes tricking that much harder because Bandit a little bit quicker and has far more gadgets to play with.
Yeah, like you say, just that bit more difficult. I think the difficulty that comes in when you're playing against the Kaid is finding exactly where those claws are, because obviously a lot more flexibility. Bandit, the batteries have got to be placed directly against the wall, whereas the electric claws can be placed underneath, they can be placed off to one side, they can be in a different room. So you've kind of got to identify exactly where they are before you come in and start throwing things like EMP grenades, whether they don't have Thatcher on side, obviously, but you know, if they have any impact EMPs that they can come in and use, anything like that, you need to be identifying where they are so that you can locate them, especially with those impact EMPs, because the radius is much smaller.
10 seconds
Well,
to go.
in we go. On the defensive side then, Solus, unsurprisingly, in the hands of Tom.
5 seconds to go.
That name is just forever going to be embedded in my memory. It's a bit of a nightmare because he was a terror on that previous map. Didn't matter what he was playing. If it was a shotgun operator, he was jumping out and going for long-range shotgun shots. If he was on the Solus, he was running out of jail. If he was on the Pulse, he was feeding information around to his team and often running into the end of a barrel, but it is what it is. Either way, a little bit of a nuisance and not at all surprised to see him back on that operator, and that Fenrir, now that it's not banned, is here alive and well.
Yeah, no surprise to see Fenrir in here. Really good, especially when you look at this top floor. So there's 2 points. There's one that goes from sort of, there's a door through from sort of Dragon and Shrine area that moves through over towards T. Thank you very much, just where Fenrir is now. And then down at the bottom, you've got the drum from Terrace door. So those 2 doors, you can kind of cut them off. If you play your Fenrir gadgets, you can do the same thing with Banshees from Malusi as well. If you play one on either door, it means you've basically cut off half of the map. The defenders can hold on and they know whether the attackers are pushing on the top floor from that side just by putting those gadgets on those 2 doors. So they can be extremely valuable in those sorts of areas. I'm not sure if that's where Tuka has played them or not, but there's a number of other places that you can do that with on Skyscraper as well. So it just gives you this really good early warning system as to where the push is coming from.
Listen, Tom, I told you, the man wants to be a little rat, but it feels like Fury is starting to catch on to him. A few rat traps being laid out and snapped shut onto Tom as he tries to make something magical happen. Still good opening kill to come through. Lycolis now looking for one at long range, but gets found out by Garadeus. Off towards the long side on that Azami. We'll find one back, 4 and 4.
Yeah, I think Lycolis just getting a little bit overexcited there, looking for one of those, you know, pixel-perfect headshots from across the map. Doesn't find it. It's 4-4. Not the end of the world. You've taken out the Solus. That's always going to be a big loss for the defenders. I9 manages to get in and find a nice nade onto Tuka as well. That's going to be the Fenrir down, so they're stuck with any dread mines activated as they are. There's going to be no changing those things over. Crit Jam nearly has an opportunity into Drum as well. Atlas.
Oh
no,
my.
He's going to get himself a freebie, but they know where he is now.
I mean, he got caught on the DKB and he was already sat there like, someone's going to push me. Someone has to push me. Then he goes charging as a 1-speed and he's got away with not quite 2 kills. Juice back up, Dark is back on side here, but a lot of damage being done, and that would have been potentially one of those big misslips. The kind of thing that was costing Fury against G2 earlier, just not being thorough enough in their drone game. I know it's hard against the Solus, but that almost caught them off guard.
I actually love that from Atlas. I kind of feel bad for him that didn't work out. I love it when players react to something like a flashbang coming in. He's got the shotgun, so I'm just going to step out and I'm going to take this engagement here. BLK has done a great job from inside of side, leaving it effectively 1 versus 2 now. Doc's only got 20 health as well. Ooh, the challenge comes in. It's BLK with a triple to close out the round, and in honesty, Knights had little right winning that round. Fury were on top for most of it, but they've just given away a little bit of ground there. I think Atlas down in Dark on that attack was just that turning point. Yes, and I managed to get the kill onto him and managed to get Dark back on his feet, but it just sort of left them shook a little bit, and BLK picks up a couple of long-range efforts that really turn things on its head. But yeah, for me, Atlas, that flash comes in. He's got 2 choices. You get full white flashed and you stand there and wait to be killed, or you come out swinging. You've got your back to the wall. That's exactly what he does. Pumps that shotgun. He knows he's got the advantage at such a short range, you know, encounter like that. Absolutely brilliant from him, really. And he was just unfortunate that R9 was in the position there to pick up the kill before he could finish Dark off.
So much of it was on BLK. I mean, 4 of the kills in that round came at range. That's what I was trying to say. You had the Azami early on, then 3 kills coming out from BLK. You know, both just doing absolute work onto normally the attackers are the ones who are rolling around with the bigger scopes, but they've really kind of put that one to rest and showed that they can still tango with the very best, even at long range. Atlas really just being the cherry on top of what was a very convincing round from the side of Knights. Now, Fury going into round 2, have got to attack in towards Karaoke and T. Lovely T-Tours moment here, flying off and around Skyscraper. It's a beautiful map, Tim. I do love it.
I like, yeah, I do. I like Skyscraper. I like the theming. I like the decoration.
I hate to think how much it costs to build something like that on top of a skyscraper, though.
It's not going to be cheap, is it?
No, no. Jesus.
Imagine getting the contractors in
this economy as well.
I wouldn't like to pay the bill myself. We're going to have the mute there just taking a pot shot out of that window. Can often get a little bit of joy there. BG Man just signalling that they need to clear a mute jammer from underneath. And they're going to have nades in hand, so Dark will be able to do that from below.
Call me cynic.
I know.
Someone's got to get below either way and try and deal with it. But again, just call me... Honestly, this is so predictable. Like, call me a cynic, but we were seeing this happening, and I'm not trying to say we're perfect. Other regions do it as well. But I think about some of the games that I've seen happening in the Europe League, for example. You always have someone spawn on that side of the map with the thermite and just get ready below. Whether it's a Zofia or an Iana with nades, you can get into a good angle from downstairs, like where Dark is now, to remove it. As I believe he has... I want to say, please tell me he's got away with that. Okay, he has. Thank God for that. That sound stopped and I was scared for a second. But that sort of thing is so easy to do, but instead they've wasted an extra 30 seconds trying to rotate the Iana over. She's then died on the rappel trying to get down to go and help out. Knights just read it like an absolute book, and really, it all comes at the back of Fury's mispreparation and, being frank, an incorrect approach to the start of a round on Skyscraper.
Yeah, and it's just like you say, it's just such a standard task. Like you know, you always have to clear things off there from that window. Like you should be able to do it with your eyes closed, pretty much. So yeah, definitely a big loss for them. They do get the job done eventually, but they've wasted a lot of time and manpower in doing so. So 1 minute 15 left on the clock. We're going to have a kill picked up onto BG Man as well. Dark trying to challenge. Knows that the Solace is there. Still Tuku's fighting. Still hasn't been taken down. Atlas finds I9. This is all going in the direction of Knights. It could well end up being a flawless round as Lycolis moves up those black stairs, and flawless it will be as Atlas finds that final kill. Shuttle puts him down, and that's going to be Knights 2-0.
Not really looking too rattled so far, are they? Not on the other side, Fury have really got to find a way into this game, but for Knights, a wonderful start, full of confidence, taking these long-range gunfights, being willing to get aggressive when the time calls it. Yeah, we saw Tom at the very start of that previous round with the jump out, for example. Still playing with the same sort of attack that we saw on Border, but on the other side of things, just not seeing the same put-together attacks that maybe we were used to. And what it makes me nervous about is when it's your map pick, really, you should come in and be like the experts of attacking that map. You've made that map pick. You've got something in the tank, some ideas ready, some strats, some approaches. But it does feel a little bit put together at the minute by Fury. It needs to see a little bit more conviction, a bit more planning going into these rounds.
I was just going to basically say the same thing. Has anybody told Knights that this isn't their map pick? Because right now they're coming in and looking like completely in charge here. They've got all the answers. They are on defense. We would expect the defenders, you know, to do pretty well on Skyscraper. It's not a horrible map for the defenders. So we're going to see them go to their third choice site. It's going to be down in Kitchen and Barbecue. So it's going to be very much the same as the last round, really, with that extra step for the attackers. Given that Fury didn't even manage to get themselves onto site last time, you got to say, if they've got extra work to do, it's not going to be any easier for them.
That castle on side, I always talk about it. Tim always loves seeing a castle, always makes things exciting, always opens up different avenues for defenders to rotate through and different angles for attackers to need to try and clear away. So I'll keep an eye on that throughout the round and see exactly what it is that Atlas and the boys have been going for with the pick of that castle. Same spot being contested, though. They did have a push coming in from the Shrine balcony last time round. Here, though, they've doubled down with a shield to really help lock it down and reinforce it. It's BG Man and Dart trying to work their way through. It doesn't matter what you bring unless there are frag grenades on side. You ain't removing that shield, and guess what, Tim? There are no frag grenades in back pocket for anyone. Tell you what, Tuku almost losing his life.
Yeah, BG Man just spotting a couple of yellow pixels through the wall, I think, and taking a few pot shots, but Tuku just managing to escape, gets himself behind the safety of that shield. A lot of utility raining in to try and deal with black stairs at the minute, but Tuku still hasn't really been cleared out here, playing in behind the smokes again. BG Man sees him, they know he's there, but he's just going to keep holding himself inside of Karaoke for the time being. He's going to take another peek if given the opportunity.
If he can get across quickly enough, he can get into a really good spot to do some work. And look, he's all by himself up here as well. Nearly half the round is gone. And elsewhere, Knights are just picking up kills and disrupting things all over the shop, it feels like, as well. They're still being pushed outside here, this top side of Shrine balcony. They get rid of Tuku, but they're still being held back, Tim.
This is the thing, like, it just seems Fury are throwing Selma charges onto Meeting Wall. They know that Tuku's in there. They've been battling with him for a minute. Obviously, he's going to shoot him off the wall. So you've just got to ask those questions, really. Crit J doing a little bit of damage to the leg of one there, but a couple of kills raining. It's still going to be Knights with the advantage. 3 versus 2, 3 versus 1. As Tom manages to find himself a double, it's all up to Crit J. He's on the line. He's moving across that top floor, still shut down by Tom, who manages to find himself a triple, and that's going to be another round for Knights.
Making it look easy, aren't they? I mean, look, now Tuku eventually got finished off, but he wasted so much time and resource. 2 smokes came out with the 3 flashes coming in before that. You had the ace Selmas coming out from the window, and they just could not seem to make him move. And it was only once we had 1 minute and 20 left on the clock, bearing in mind that the top floor wasn't the site, that things actually started to change. And I said this coming into the series, it's been my criticism of Fury. I'd say the same about Talon earlier on today too. The pace of the attacks, the amount of time figuring out exactly what to do, it's like the players know, oh, I start the round on Shrine Balcony. From there, they're not really sure what to do when they come against an obstacle they're not 100% sure of how to deal with, though. And Siege isn't like, you know, chess. There aren't predefined square blocks that you have to move pieces into, and they can only move a certain way. Teams will always bring new things each round, and it just feels that the adaptability maybe isn't quite there to deal with some of these more intricate setups and strategies that we see coming out of the defensive side.
Yeah, you really would have expected Fury to have, you know, more game plans essentially on a map that they have chosen to come to, but certainly not working out for them so far. We may see in the second half that big switch of sides, but at the minute, Knights are getting themselves such an advantage that Fury are going to find themselves in a position where they're basically fighting to get themselves to overtime.
These are really small things as well, but like Cole's just losing his drone there for free. You know there is a Solus on this team, 100%. It's why so many other teams leave all their drones outside the building and say, look, we aren't getting any information, just forget about it. And it just feels like small things like that. It doesn't feel like a big deal losing a single drone, but careless things like that do rack up across a round or even across a whole game.
Tuku desperately wanting to get out of that door, I think. He's just waiting for his opportunity.
This
time bringing along the Thatcher, so they don't have to mess about playing into those windows, exposing themselves to those peaks potentially, and it does get the job done for them. They're going to get that wall open. Tuku maybe has just lost his moment there. He's been waiting to get out of that door potentially, waiting for a bit of information, but the opportunity's not really going to present itself now.
He can still do some work if he wants to push his way back up the house stairs, for example, onto those players that are rotating around, maybe to push in through terrace. So don't think that's the end of Tom. You'll see him working some more magic throughout this round. You've also got BLK here sat around Shrine with on the Azami, just Q barrying the hell out of everything in a good spot to be able to keep the attackers away from getting onto that side of the map. But you can see really the spread from Fury is to try and get control of this karaoke T side first. Both walls opened up. It's taken them 75 seconds, but they have done what they needed to. VIP wall is open, and now they're inside a Geisha as well.
Yeah, you feel like it's a little bit better from Fury. They've started to get themselves established towards inside the map. They're not quite there just yet, but they can start working on getting some map control. They haven't lost anybody yet, which has been something that's plagued them for the first couple of rounds, but they now have an opportunity to start trying to put these defenders in some difficult positions. They still have to play past this Azami into Dragon, though, just keeping hold of the top of Shrine at the minute. Tom holding a real long angle on the Cade there, just waiting for that opportunity. Here it comes, almost picks up his man.
I think a nade maybe going to come flying through as well. For a second, I thought CritJ might try and cook one, but nope. Keeping himself safe, and now you've got BLK up nice and close.
I don't think they know about him.
Just this layered defense constantly coming on and on is just causing such a headache for the attacking side, who again don't feel 100% confident with dealing with what's been thrown at them. They're pushing aggressively, they find one. It's a second I9 taking charge of the round on the march on forward, but here comes Tuku with Tom below with a C4. They're back on site, but Tim, they've got some tools to work with here. 2 C4s and a couple of impacts.
Yeah, they're just going to work to play for that denial underneath. That's not going to make life any easier for them, though. That is sight given over now. There's an opportunity to Fury to get that plant down, but they're just going to try and play off this information. The Solus is going to feed it into the Cade. He can use the Nitro. They've got the impact nades as well, but they need to find where that diffuser goes down. When it does, the Nitro has been pulled early. They're just going to have to wait. They don't get the kill that they would have been looking for. They're just concerned about this Solus. They don't want to put the diffuser down with them underneath.
Got to get themselves into a high spot, and they're not doing that at all. They're forces the bait out, and they chase him down as well. Tuku's gone. Tom's all alone. Can he get anything? Goes for the man, but I9's there. A massive 3K in the round for him. Secures Fury that round, and my God, did they sorely need it, Tim.
Yeah, it was desperate from them, really. 4-0 down would have been an absolute nightmare start. They've just shown us something a little bit different there. I think one of the key things was not losing players in the first half of the round. They were able then to get in and really fight on level terms with Knights in towards the site. I like how they gain the control. They still had those moments. They didn't have any idea that BLK was playing in Dragon, I don't think. They were so fixated on Tom, he was able to just move around. You actually see the trade coming in there. It was I9 who played decisively. So it was good adaptation, it was good reaction to BLK getting the opener, but they still let him have that first kill because they were so fixated on Tom playing at the long range on the Kaid. But they got the job done. Fury get themselves around. Honestly, I feel like they need another 2 on the attack here.
I commented on 9-9 missing some really critical shots back on the first map as well there, but really I think I don't want to say single-handedly because it's not fair to his team, but at the end of that round, he was the one in the prime position to guarantee that his team didn't lose that round. If he loses that firefight or is looking the wrong way or misses a shot, there is a very fair chance that Tom just gets to spray through onto the man who's planting inside of Office, and that is it, round done and dusted, 4-0 Knights. It's a big round from him, also taking charge around Shrine, getting 2 easy kills, made it a 3K for himself in the round. So pat yourself on the back, my son. You've given your team a round that is very sorely needed, as said. Round 5 we go, 2 left on the attacking half for the side of Fury.
20 seconds in then, just getting themselves up to the line of the building. Again, Fury taking care there, not wanting to lose anybody. They know that Knights have been aggressive so far with peaks and jump outs, managing to get Geisha wall open nice and quickly. So that's going to potentially impact on anybody looking to play inside of there. It's also then going to potentially apply a little bit of pressure to Drum. I don't know if that wall is open or not, but of course it opens up that long angle all the way through. So again, something that they need to be cautious of.
Oh, well, I thought we opened.
It's already been Kiba barricade.
I thought we opened this. It's like, well, now it's closed again. Quite literally like Azami cinematic, in fact. Wall gets blown open, she closes it back up. Easy as pie. Now, otherwise, Knights so far looking rather undisturbed. Still looking like they can move around quite freely as Fury try and get themselves set up into key positions to make that march on forwards. A lot of drone work still coming on in, and really they've done well, I think, to keep 9 drones alive in this round. You've seen there the difference of no Solus and what it's doing for the team's information game.
Gonna have Dark going in there now, looking to move up Black Stairs. Surely they know that he's coming. Not a clue. Like always manages to get one. Dark finds Tom looking for a second. Tuku shuts down like always in a late trade. And we're in a 3 versus 3 somehow. An absolute bloodbath in the middle of the round there. And it's all just the dust settling now as Knights, they've locked themselves into their angles. They're not wanting to overextend or take on any other peaks here. They know that they don't want to lose any more manpower. And it's up to Fury to step back, foot off the gas, and just try and send the drones in, the Iana clones, and just try and get what information they can. Shots will land onto the smoke of Atlas, but the Toxic Babe is successfully deployed.
A number of tracks around, man. I mean, Dart was a real Hail Mary player there. They know that he's sat inside a goal, but they need the wrong spot. They go too shallow, and they aren't going to find their man. This is a golden opportunity now for Knights to take this one away. There's no more frags on side. There's only 2 left for the attackers, and they are hidden well behind those hard walls. No ability to spray through. Crit J's got to work some magic here coming up main stairs.
I feel like that missed nade onto gold bars isn't really forgivable. You should know exactly where that spot is. Crit J is just going to be working from drum stairs, trying to find anybody he can. He knows there's one inside of there. He has to try and push forward. Potentially gets one close. Can he find a second? 2 versus 2. 20 seconds.
Just the one more to go in from Drum as well. That's really the real challenge. They don't know where the Warden is. They find him out. It's the one left standing as well. They know that he was on Drum and they're holding the angle. Yes, they are. Almost finds his shot, but the rounding comes out. I9 again with the closing kill to give Fury their second round of Skyscraper. Things have transformed since the end of round 3, Tim, and it's I9.
Fury don't like to do things easily, do they? I thought they'd lost that round, but they were able to get it done in the final 20 seconds. For me, that missed nade on gold bars, I was like, surely that's the moment that you've just kissed goodbye to that one. Like I say, maybe they didn't think he was in that spot. Maybe they thought that he got aggressive and moved out. They were playing off a ping. I want to be fair to them. I think there was a ping for that Warden's position. And sometimes if you're pinging at distance from the drones, it can be a little bit difficult just to get that depth quite precise. But if the information was he's in gold bars, then you should really know where that spot is from underneath, because it's just such a common spot. But either way, they get the job done. As you say, I9 really stepping up. You can see the passion, the hype, the energy is there for him, and he's going to be a difficult one to shut down. If Fury can get another round here and 3-3 at the half, it's an absolute steal for them, Des, and they might just be back on for winning this 2-0.
So like I've said a couple of times, I9's been the player for me these last couple of rounds that has got Fury on the board, and he'll be sleeping easy tonight if he gets his team through to tomorrow, otherwise quite miserably that they'll have been knocked out and be going home. Because that's that reminder once again, whoever loses this series is done. Their major is over in just 1 day. Free drone, thank you very much, how kind of you. But yes, lose this game, you're out, you're done. The other team goes through to tomorrow to play against the loser of G2 versus DZ, which will be, I want to say it's the 3rd game of the day, maybe the 2nd, something like that.
I'm not sure.
Second, I think our order is for that.
I'm not sure if Fresh has got every site to be played on his bingo card again. I know that he had it last time. I'm sure he's going to be very happy if he does, because Master.
Should I do a quick check actually?
Have a little quick check, because I remember last time Master on Skyscraper was.
Do some basic maths, are we, medics? What's going on there?
Master on Skyscraper was the site last time. I'm pretty sure that was the difficult one to get. It was the one that we were all waiting for, and we're actually seeing it here and now. So nice and early, 3 versus 3, as we've got a couple of kills coming in to kick things off. A little bit of vertical play coming in from Tommy. Sees the man below but can't find it. BG Man does manage to find Tuku. Advantage Fury. They could well come away with an even half. They've got Diffuser in hand, but how about that? Beautiful headshot as they try to push themselves a little bit deeper into sight, but Jerry's going to have it all to do. He's 1 versus 2 as BG Man takes down Tom. Is there an opportunity for R9 to get this Diffuser down?
He doesn't have every site applied, by the way. But I9's in and making an impression once again. Last time around it was killing, this time around it's planting. Gyarados with it all to do, and he's staring at a blitz. Not going to be a nice spot to be in. BG Man is getting himself upstairs as well, which makes this even worse with the spray from the SMG coming on through. They know exactly what's going on, and I9 is the one tucked in behind the bomb chassis as Gyarados goes down the long route. Almost manages to find one for himself, I think, there for a second. In fact, no, it was BG Man going down, at least a tickle. They've got that vertical control. He knows this one looks pretty done and dusted, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. He's just ranging around now, trying to see what he can find. He's had a good couple of spray downs here. Might get his man, but no, switching to the shotgun will not get it done. BG Man on the Zofia picks up the final kill top floor, and Fury with a little bit of a steal, a little bit of a snatch and grab. Des have come away after losing the first 3 rounds with a 3-3 split half, and now they move on to defense of their own map. Fury have got their destiny in their hands.
I feel Tim's really gone for it, but Fresh has really gone for it with the Frost Nerf costs round bingo item.
It's quite specific, isn't it?
Yeah, what else do I like? Can trap kill? I feel like that can happen.
We've already had one.
Oh, there you go. He needs to get it ticked off his bingo, doesn't he?
We had one earlier. I can't remember who it was. I apologise, Fresh, because I'm not going to be able to guide you to it. I think it was in the first map of this. It's definitely one that I've cast, I will say that. So it was either the game that I did with Parker, or it was in the first map of this game. But I think it was the first map of this game on Border, if you double check back, but I'm pretty sure that we've had one. He's probably already got it.
He's probably got it sorted.
He's probably just not updated.
There are some things that we have real power over here as well, like Dynasty being mentioned is one.
Does that count?
Not me saying Dynasty. I don't think so. We have to really have a conversation about Dynasty. That's a lot of power.
We'll have to wait until G2 are playing.
See, the one that I love, and I know I can definitely do at some point, is Talent Swears on broadcast.
5 seconds to go.
I'm pretty sure you already have.
I'm pretty sure I've already done that one.
I'm pretty sure you already have.
It's got to be meaningful, though, I feel. A meaningful swear. Not just saying crap or shit or the other dumb stuff that I say.
You've just done it now.
That's not a real swear.
Is it not?
No. It's got to be like an F-bomb. It's got to be specific enough, I think, to really say what do you mean by swear.
Okay. Heading into round 7,
then.
Second half.
I've got to sort this out.
Second half, Fury move on to the defence. They've got themselves the 3-3 half. A fantastic comeback, to be fair, getting round 4, 5, and 6 in the bag after being pretty beaten up by Knights in the first 3. They managed to lock out some good attacks, and you feel like carrying that confidence through into their own defences should give them a real opportunity here. But we see this so often. Team on their own map get onto the favoured side, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't really happen for them. So Knights, I want to see that aggression again. That's when they were good on the attack on Border, was when they got in there, got into sight, took some map control, got into some gunfights, and really got up in the face of Fury. I want to see a bit more of that from Knights. Don't play this stalled out game. When you got into the final minute previously, it wasn't a good look on you. You didn't get the rounds won. So let's get in there. Let's get the job done, Knights.
Momentum was that keyword that we used at the time, right? It was really trying to build some forward pace once you got the opening kill. My thing that I remarked on back there, and actually where I thought we might see Knights do well in the first half, and we did for a short amount of time, was the size of Skyscraper really can upset the apple cart and make it harder to, as the attackers at least, have full coverage of the map. Here we're on the attacking side for Knights, though. I just fear that even if you manage to get yourself an entry, there's still so much map to work through that you may well find with it also being Fury's map pick, they feel incredibly comfortable, and it's not going to be anywhere near as easy as it was back on Border, which generally is quite a gunfight heavy map anyway.
Yash here, BLK just looking to use that breach that's been opened up. See if he can find an angle through onto Dark on the Legion. He's just going to keep himself hidden away behind that door frame for the time being. I9, who else? He picked up his man, and that gives us an advantage here. 5 versus 4. Fury are looking good as Dark manages to take out BLK. Tuku finds I9 in a late trade. 4 versus 3. 45 seconds left to go, and you just feel like Knights. They're grasping here, Des. They've not really got themselves established. How do they execute from here? How do they think about putting the diffuser down? They just don't have the control that they need.
I mean, the madness here I'll talk about in a second once this round possibly concludes. It's like Lycolis and Dart, they double team up to bring down 2. Atlas, the only one left standing. And I'll take the time to talk about it now. When it was still a 5 versus 5, there were only 3 drones left alive for Knights. Only one of those was out on the field. Everything else just came down to blind 1v1s, and you saw the result of that in a couple of those gunfights. They were just running in blind, not sure if there were frost mats waiting for them. Everything just stung them. They lost out on gunfights. And so for me, if you're using, nearly all of your drones to start out a round, you've got to get something for them. You've still got players outside the building. You've got no gunfights being taken. There's not even a Solus on the other side to use as an excuse. They're just out of information and having to play very blind. So great work by Fury to get rid of all of those drones. But for Knights, one, either be more conservative with the drones, or 2, make sure you're making a play off the information they give you, because there really wasn't a lot being done there in the early round.
Well, Knights, your time is now, essentially. You're 4-3 down, a map down. You either win Skyscraper or you go home. Simple as that. Day 1, we do lose 4 teams, of course, each of our best of 3s. Every elimination game will be a best of 3. So we've already had NIP and Sandbox. They were playing out. We're potentially going to lose another one here. We've just got a quick rehost that's going to be coming in. We'll get this one done, and we will move on from there. We've obviously already lost Talon today as well. Cyclops beating them in the match before this one. So, Knights, if you don't want to join those ranks, now is your time. Now is your time.
Feels like a pretty good time for the rehost. Now they're at that kind of halfway mark. You've had that one round where really I think for Knights, although they can't talk during a technical timeout, sorry. Too many T's in these timeouts and technicals and tactics, Tim.
A lot of alliteration.
Just throw Tim on the end of it as well for good measure. Yeah, they can't talk during it, but it's a good chance to have a think about what exactly is going wrong here and what they can look to improve themselves and the difference that they can make in the game. Because that first round, a bit of a rollover on the drone front. I've got to see better drone use in the next round, really, for me to be convinced they can fight their way back in. Because back on border, they were 4-4s where we got to, and then Fury just slowly kept pulling ahead. And sure, Knights got one more back, but it was forever chasing Fury at that point, it felt like. And I just get the sense that this second half may well end up going exactly the same way. And this is what I mean by blind gunfights, right? Watch how many of these you see members of Knights just being not aware of at all as to what's going on.
Yeah, exactly that. Long-range fights like Dark there, picking one up across the map. Dark again, stepping around the corner, straight up in the face of the Grim. Absolutely nothing that they could do. And Crit J picking up the final one, like you say. It just feels, for me, it feels like Fury have just kicked into the next gear now. I think they always wanted defensive Skyscraper. They've got their 3-3, and they probably just feel like, yeah, right, this is our moment. They can taste it. They know how close they are to the finish line. And so it's going to be a tough one for Knights now, if I'm honest. I said it, to be honest, when we came into the game. You suggested maybe we go to 3 maps. I said I think if we're going to go to 3 maps, for me, Knights needed to win border. I thought it was going to be a big ask for them to potentially take on Fury on Skyscraper, and it's starting to sort of look that way now.
Whew. Well, we're going to come back to us for a second, I hear.
Why not?
Why not? I could see your angelic face, Tim, and my shiny devil, apparently. I did think at some point during the day, I'm going to get sick and tired of this, because Parker, as the day went by, was like removing more bits of makeup, right? And getting progressively more miserable.
I feel like that just played into the character.
For me, though, I've just found all day I keep getting like leaning on things and everything comes out red. Like my nails are like red, and I can do this look, and my hands are all red. It's a mess.
It's going to be an interesting end to the day for you.
I said to the makeup artist earlier, I was like, if you guys are leaving like before the end of the day, like what do I do? And she's like, you can probably just wash it off. And I was like, if I get in the shower and wash all this off and there's just like red everywhere stained around the shower, the cleaner tomorrow will come and have a heart attack. I'm like,
what's happened?
What's going on? Are people dying in this hotel? I'm like, no, it's just face paint apparently. Halloween, it's one of those. We're going back into game just now. I think we also immediately have a tack timeout by the sounds of it. So we should be able to yeah, have that little chat amongst themselves and figure things out.
Yeah, that's it. You know, as we've already said, the difference being a technical timeout, they can't use that opportunity to have those discussions. But if we do go into a tactical timeout, the teams will then be able to have that time to have a discussion. We can see the microphones coming down. There we go. And they can start having a chat. That works for both teams. I'm not sure who's called it, but I would give a good guess that it will be Knights that will be using theirs. Obviously, now being a round down, they need to figure this out because not only are they a round down, Des, but Fury have won 4 in a row.
I was just about to say that.
That's the big point.
Yes,
confirmation that it is nice.
Confirmation from production. We love that stuff. Absolutely. So 4 rounds down in a row. There needs to be some action. For me, again, in this next round, things to look out for coming back into it. Drone play is absolutely the big one because it was 7 drones gone before there was even a firefight taken in that previous round. 2 of those 3 drones that were remaining, by the way, still in back pocket.
That was something that Knights weren't great against Dark Zero with. We picked up on it there as well.
I mean, Fury were the same, right? I touched on that as well against G2. They struggled on elements of that too. And I hate saying like weaker teams here. It's more like, I guess, less experienced is the nice, polite way of putting it. Less experienced teams, it feels today so far, haven't been great in terms of pace or drone play in the early round. And it does cost them when it comes around to those mid-game engagements to really set up the execute. They're just getting punished by teams that feel a little bit more with it. And I'm not saying Fury are light years ahead here of Knights, but just enough to get them closer to that finish line.
I'm going to be getting back into game very shortly. I think we can see keyboards clicking, mouses clicking, ready to go back. There we go. We are out of the tac timeout into the prep phase of round 8. Fury looking very good on their first defensive round. Kind of the expectation, really, given that it is their map choice. They're going to head over to the other top side, which is going to be the office side. Knights, for me, weren't really anywhere near on that last round, so something good is going to have to have been said in that tactical timeout. They lost themselves a couple of men early in the round, and then, like I said, they were nowhere near a position to execute. They were nowhere near a position to really take any map control. So what do I want to see from Knights this time around? I want to see them get themselves established inside of the map. I want to see them maybe get an entry kill. I want to see them have a platform to build from.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Crit, what are you doing, buddy? I mean, it's not normally a soulless role to be doing what Vigil would normally do, but I guess you can work it that way if you want to. No one's spawning on that side of the map, I don't think, so he may be out there a while. You just see that blue highlight in the distance of just him all the way out there on his one, just like, yeah, I'm sure someone will come. No.
Tiny, it looks like he's off on chalet or something.
Enjoying a little ski while the rest of his team win the game. Yep, sound.
Right, here we go then. BLK is going to be working his way in towards storage there, potentially. Just going to open that up for the time being. We've just got all of Knights sort of poised, ready to go. I'm just wondering if there's going to be a bit of an aggressive push, all working together here, looking to clear out underneath, but they're not going to find anybody, Des. There's nobody down there.
Droned it.
There's nobody down there at the minute. They can go in and they can take control. They can start to work vertically from underneath. Maybe use some of those nades. They've got 4 in hand with BLK and Tuku, but they were kind of going in there like they expected a little bit of a fight, but there was nothing to be seen.
They had drones in there as well, so they knew about this. I really thought either it was going to be a charge for nade goes skyward, or they would run in expecting to find someone, but drones have cleared it out, and the nades didn't get used or brought out straight away, so I can only assume not. Maybe we'll start seeing them sent skyward soon as you've got the sledge and the Nook on side. 4 nades to play behind. Looks like BLK starting to cook one right now. Actually not going to find his man. A little bit blind inside the site itself. Tom Reard's got to be guiding these that little bit better.
That's it. There's nobody inside, essentially. They're going to lose the drone as well. So, you know, they've used 2 of the 4 nades and they've not even tickled anybody's toes, to be honest with you, Des. They've found absolutely nothing from underneath. So, yeah, they've got to be, whilst they're going in and taking that ground and using those nades, you know, I don't want to be critical of that. They've done a good job of doing that. But 2 minutes have gone and they've not really achieved anything with it. Dark manages to get a beautiful kill onto Tuku there. They've even kept the wall open. BIP wall is still closed, Dark gets another onto BLK. Dark's doing everything right now.
The man's just a machine. He just knows what to do and when, and he seems to be spinning on a dime, doing absolutely everything in this round. He's also found out the finish there. Not quite, no. It's crit and I9. I9 into a second as well. A flawless round for Fury. They are flying, Tim, and I'm really starting to get nervous for Knights, even after attack timeout. They can't find their way back in.
In honesty, after the TAC timeout, it's got worse. You know, the reality is it wasn't a flawless round before the TAC timeout. It was afterwards. Dark, to be fair, has made their life a misery in that round. Not only has he kept VIP wall close, he's got 2 kills. He's, you know, eaten up a nade as well. He's made it so difficult for them. No wonder we're going to see him on the replay here. Look at his footwork. Absolutely beautiful. Gets away from that as well. Clean shots across the head. Just really good stuff from Dark. But yeah, for me, like I said, I don't want to be too critical of Knights. They had a game plan. They knew what they wanted to do. They got in underneath. They were confident in doing so. They had the nades in hand. But the problem is, you can have all the confidence in the world. You can have the plan. But if there's nobody there, you're not going to find anything. You know, they just didn't have the information, again, to play behind. They used those nades from underneath. They were 2 minutes into the round before they started using those vertical nades. You know, if that's your plan and you've drawn out underneath, really, you should be throwing them skyward at the minute mark. If you got in there, got the map, right, start getting the nades going so you've got time to do more in the round. So just a little bit slow from Knights.
I'm just loving the passion coming out of R9 that we saw in those replays.
He's on the edge, he's loving it.
I'm not going home tonight, yeah!
Imagine him and Canadian on the same team.
Oh, mate. Oh. I was already saying I'm looking forward to like Alamau and Troy, for example. Just imagine getting the 5 loudest, rowdiest mother buggers that you can think of and throwing them all on a squad. It would be hilarious.
Certainly would. We're going to have Dark then. He's got them frost mats down. So again, Fury just looking to slow things down from Knights. They've recognised, obviously, that it's gone well previously. You know, so they're bringing along the Legion, they're bringing along the Frost, they're bringing along the Ela. They're doing everything they can to just create those situations whereby it's going to slow them down by 10 seconds here and there.
Right, onwards we march. Again, we've seen this spot quite a lot. The Shrine Dance coming in, really. It was last time it was Fury on the attacking side that we were looking at for this. This time around, it's obviously Knights trying to do just that with the Ossa and the charge. Out comes the first stim from BLK as well. Nade's already been flying, but nothing found on the other side. Again, I'm still keeping a close eye on things like the drone count here. They've got 7 alive, so it's not a concern at the moment. But I imagine you might find that whittled down over the next 45 seconds as they try and find an angle in towards this Fury setup.
This will be fun.
And I'm just holding onto those stairs. I think he's actually... Oh, no, I was going to say I thought the goo mine had been... Sorry, not the goo mine, the Ela mine, the Gersmot mine. I thought had been taken out above the door by the nade. Maybe it was, and maybe he had one in pocket to play back out. He's getting aggro. No!
Not like this.
Contend with the Ossa shield. I just feel like Knights could have been to get the kill, but I was just going to say maybe more aggressive there. They know R9's right up there at the door. Get in and get the kill. You know, start to create that space. They're going to eat up the Gersmot mine. Just replace that Talon shield at the top of the black stairs there. And this is a good platform now for Knights to build from. 4 versus 4 at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say, right? If probably should have expected there was an Ossa there. You would have heard that shield being deployed, right? If there wasn't an Ossa there, yeah, you get a freebie. Everyone walks away a winner, except for the side of Knights. But the fact that he's gone face first into an Ossa and then paid the price for it, bit of a stinger. This is a great spot to be in, by the way. We've seen teams use Monty alongside Smokes here to make a play work in this sort of position. You can do a similar thing if you want to with the Ossa, like they've already done to secure that top floor entirely. He can now sit at the top of there behind that shield and just overwatch everything and stop verticals being played. The rest of the team can now actually look at the site itself, but you've got to be aware on the other side of any impacts. There are none available, but there is a C4, so there's still the ability to disrupt this top floor hold. But Tim, only 30 seconds to go, and it feels that so far, Knights haven't really done enough.
QuickJ's got a great long angle here from up above that he can potentially prevent anybody moving through that breach, but he's just sort of dancing left and right to try and make sure he catches anybody, but time is going to be a factor. Once again, 10 seconds left to go. They're going to have to rush in, but a beautiful kill on the reverse angle. That could be a key, though. 2 versus 3, 1 versus 2. Kills just raining everywhere. Diffuser is in hand. There is an opportunity to put it down. 1 kill needs to be found by Locolis, but I don't think he's going to have the opportunity. He tries to get the nitro, finds the headshot. Can he find the second? He knows where the man is. He's thinking about that nitro. Cannot find his shots.
What is going on? No, he got him like Colis.
What a beast! What a beast! The Knights can't buy around right now.
Knights have got to feel hard done to there. They managed to get in and get the diffuser down, but like Ole says, not today. Even after a couple of missed shots, he's still able to find the nitro, and that is a great round for Fury to take. If you were going to break the spirit of another team, you've got to imagine that that would have been the moment to do it.
I'm so happy it's like Olis as well. We've seen others have great moments today and stand up and be heard. You know, Crit, as we've seen, going nuts. I9's having an amazing map. BG with a big 3K at the end of the previous map. But like Olis, for those who didn't know, was basically the coach for this team for the longest time. Only over the last 8 to 9 weeks have they actually had a coach on the team. Prior to that, it was all like Olis, you know, coaching the team, trying to focus on leading himself, doing strats, all that other kind of good stuff. And to now see him get a chance to shine, and obviously like he kind of said in an interview with CGG, I think it was, the ability to work on himself and improve himself and get a play like that, that's going to feel so good.
Seen some of the highlights from that round, but it is all down to that last 20 seconds from Lycolis. Gets his first man, and then out goes the Nitro. BLK on a fraction of health. It didn't even really need to be that close to him. Just anywhere in the vicinity would do the job, and do the job. Indeed, I9 going absolutely wild. The whole team absolutely loving it there. They know how much this means. It gets them into day 2. Yes, their next match will be another elimination match. It's not going to be easy for them, but at least they only have to play one match. They could look at it that way. They've had to play a best of 1 and a best of 3 today, so it will only be a best of 3 tomorrow.
Well, they've got to get through this last round first. Round 10 coming right up. Knights, no ability to take attack time out. They took it earlier on. It feels now like after a few rounds have gone against them. Again, it was what? They were in such a good position back in that first half. They've now lost 6 rounds on the bounce. Fury seemingly unstoppable even in the clutch situations. If there's a site that you can win, it feels like this might be the one, but I'm still nervous for them.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
Yeah, Fury just trying to take us on a complete tour here. I think, you know, just trying to really show a little bit of dominance on Skyscraper, send a bit of a message. I9 just playing aggressively on that window now. This is the problem for Knights. Fury have got 3 rounds in hand. No, they're not going to want to throw those away, but it will give them that feeling. You've been there yourself. You think, we've got 3 rounds. Yeah, I can have a little look out of this window. Yeah, I can have a little bit of a jump out. Yeah, I'll give that a try. Why not? And you just feel a little bit more freedom from it. I9 might well find himself dead if he's not careful here. Nade comes in, won't find him. He really is cornered though. BG Man manages to find 1, 5 versus 4. I9, it was only a matter of time. Surely keeps himself alive in the corner. Surely BG Man can't save him, can he?
I mean, at least prolonged his life, but now BG Man's hit the deck as well. So now losing out of these longer range fights impacts himself like Olis after that heroic play in the previous round. It's basically a 3 versus 3 here with those 2 currently on their backsides and likely not getting res anytime soon.
BLK is going to offer the juice from the nanobots there, but as they try to push forward, like Olis does the job again. 2v2, BG Man down, as you say, 1v1 as Dark manages to find it. Does he take the opportunity? I don't know where 2Q is. He's not going to be able to as he finishes off the kill. It's all up to this final gunfight.
The pings are coming on through as well. They've got that bulletproof cam, and 2Q wins out the 1v2. A brief reprise here, 2 more rounds to go for Knight to send it into overtime. Imagine if that is the starting point of a reverse sweep, Tim, and they go on to win map 3.
I was just going to say exactly the same. Is that site choice going to come back to haunt Fury? You know, look how high energy they were 3 minutes ago, and now it's just that little bit lower. They've gone to Master, and I think, yeah, you've got your 2 primary sites to go to. Why didn't you just go to one of them?
Yeah, because they won barbecue, right?
Yeah, why give yourself that opportunity to have Knights feel like they're getting back into it? Just go back to Karaoke Tea and get the job done. Just seal the deal. You know, don't give Knights that chance to have a sniff of getting back into this.
It's interesting how a single hacked bulletproof cam was the big changer of that round, because it forced, as we saw, I9 to move instead up in towards wardrobe, out of bedroom itself. BG Man then got down as a result of trying to help him. Really 2 players lost there off the back of a single cam being hacked.
You see the efforts from 2Q at the end there. We had a Little ring around the roses just to try and see who gets that final peak, but Tuku just pinpoint accurate onto the head to pick up his man and take us into round 11.
Oh,
Knights need one more to take us the distance.
The blitz is back.
The blitz is back indeed. It's always a little bit of a gamble, especially when we're moving over to Karaoke T. Fury, we would expect to be a slightly different beast on this site. We've seen them win it already. It's their primary site choice. They're now trying to get it locked down. They've got to hope, though, that the momentum hasn't been broken.
Alrighty, well, it's all really eyes on the blitz. It's not like it's an instant round winner, but it's normally when the team find an opening that you have the blitz charging on through and picking off isolated individual players. My only concern really is that, like in the previous round there, you saw most members of Fury playing in relatively close proximity to one another so they could support them in case a firefight did kick off. Now, obviously Knight still walked away the winner. I'm just not too sure how many chances you're going to find for Garadeus to find a 1 versus 1, run someone down without being shot in the back.
I9 getting aggressive on that black stairs door once again, takes himself a drawn out, and that's going to leave 7 on the board for Knights, so still no really excuse to not have that information ahead of them. It has been an issue for them so far, but here comes the blitz. There's just the signal that there's barbed wire at the bottom of black stairs that could slow him down. That's going to be dealt with momentarily as he steps back to clear it, and now we'll continue that march up towards the top floor. By the looks of things, we're going to have the Ace just joining him as well there.
All right, so slowly does it. An EMP coming in towards the top of black. Look, I think looking to get the wall opened up here, but a shield being redeployed by BG, man. I always love when teams relocate like utility as they realize where an attack is coming from. Great nade coming in from below here. Might be our first vertical nade kill, but no, just a little bit over or undercooked. Bounces off the wall, doesn't do full damage to Lycolis. He stays alive.
Lycolis is so important in a couple of these rounds, certainly won't want to be losing him. BLK sends the nade in, this army of I9, just manages to escape, but look at the aggression straight back onto the stairs. He wants to be there, ready to take that fight.
Well, they know there's only so many nades that they can toss at them here, and sure enough, nades are only down to 1 in number for the side of the attackers. BLK onto I9, who was already down to about 20 HP, was on the main stairs. It's Crit to get one back, though, traded out immediately. Love that kind of bit of team play. In comes the Blitz as well, charging in, flashed out. Tuku behind him, gets a plant down at the back of it, and now Diffuse is going down. March on 4s, Tuku into yet another. It's all down to Crit, finds 1. It's got to be an ace and everything. He manages to find 4, but through the wall, Atlas gets his man. Could have been one hell of a highlight reel for Crit, but Knights stay in. One more round, Tim, and we're going to overtime.
Crit just got caught in the reload there, and you just think there's an opportunity for him to ace that to close it out. But I come back to that site choice that we discussed. They went to Master to try and finish it off. They've now lost Karaoke. Knights have got themselves a bit of momentum. They could potentially push this to the distance, and all of a sudden Fury are feeling like, hey, it was 6-3, it's now 6-5. What have we done here? You know, and I just feel like getting straight onto those primary sites might have been a better choice for them, but we will see how round 12 goes. Knights looking pretty good after that one. It worked. Push the Blitz direct into sight, bully the Warden out of there, and try to get that diffuser down. It was close. It was close, but Atlas, right place, right time, gets it finished.
And the response out of Fury is full lockdown. Look at this comp coming out with the Mirror, the Goyo, the Mute, the Fenrir, everything to screens. We are staying on site. We are playing safe, and we are really looking to deny and disrupt you as you come marching on forward. A couple of C4s in back pocket as Army to make this defense at least a little bit more dynamic. So maybe the DKB on the other side, not really one of the go-to operators for this kind of attacking lineup, but they don't know that at this point. Won't have gone too far, too deep in to try and figure out exactly what they're coming into. A pretty cut and dry comp coming out of Knights, looking pretty standard.
Yeah, exactly that. As you say, the EMP's not really necessary because there's no electrification. They will be relying on the jammers right? Potentially, but they should be reasonably easily dealt with when you've got the Thatcher on side. So the Dokkaebi really is there to deal with any roam as you would expect. But like you said, I don't think we're going to see too much of that play in this scenario yet. Pretty much everybody on site apart from I9 who's playing underneath.
Still, VIP going to be the starting point. Now, last time around we saw them open up this wall, then rotate over and get, I think it was Geisha wall they started there pushing through last time around. Curious to see if they go for another full map clear or if they just keep it pretty narrow and focused on towards this east side of the map.
Tuku just on the upside down rappel, trying to hold that long angle. Drone goes in. Knight's looking for that information once again. We've seen R9 do great work on this VIP wall once it's been opened previously, so he's just hoping for a little bit more of that. I think if they give themselves away with any sound too much, he will spring into action and try and find himself a kill. But for the time being, Shrine window is going to be claymored off. And I tell you what, Knights are moving pretty quickly here. There's a minute 10 into the round, and there's an awful lot getting opened up. There's a lot of utility being removed, and Fury, they are going to be holding on for a long time, potentially.
There's a lot being opened up. My concern is, again, the comp coming out from the side of Fury. They've got so much stall coming in here. I mean, for example, this is one of the Goya canisters burnt out. There is a second one waiting on the drum, next to, well, not on the drum, but next to door inside of drum for them to pop out. So one's gone through. Do they know that this one's still there? I'm not 100% sure they do. Once you've got through that, you've got 2 C4s to deal with. You've got the Fenrir gadgets to deal with as well. There is a lot to disrupt them here, so they keep on taking, I don't want to say loads of time, but they have already taken a fair whack having to burn through these Goyo canisters. They're going to be forced to panic, I think, in the dire moments of the round.
Potentially. Dark is going to drop back. Look at that aggression. Manages to get back inside. Atlas taking an absolute ton of damage as well. Just wasn't ready for that jump out, I don't think. First kill comes in, though. It is going to be a BLK onto R9. That starts clearing out VIP. Dark is still in position to hold them back. He just misses his opportunity there behind the computer monitor, but is still in a position to fight.
In a spot to do damage. No one's coming in through the VIP wall, but I think that's what he was starting to get scared of. Dart finds one back, spins on a dime, can't find a second. It's BLK into the second of the round. What a game he's really starting to warm into here. Working their way out through house. That's full VIP control established. 2 players left on site, make it 3, sorry, as it's BG that gets one back. They've got the mirror window to play in behind here as well, I believe, at the same time. Still a lot of dancing to do, but only 15 seconds on the clock.
This could go absolutely either way. There's Tom. He's going to try to take out that barbed wire. Signals his presence. Nitro goes out, won't do any damage like always, leaves himself exposed. Can't find any kill. It's 1v1. It's BG Mondes. He gets it closed out with a shotgun blast at short range. And Fury, by their literal fingertips, managed to get themselves over the line and get themselves through to day 2.
Through to day 2, but the gauntlet far from over. As a reminder, they play the loser of G2 versus DZ. That is our second game taking place tomorrow. And condolences, Tim, towards Knights. They're giving it a good go, but they are going home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been impressed by Knights there in that second matchup. You know, they got given a bit of a lesson by Dark Zero. It was never going to be an easy game to kick off against such a difficult team. And they presented themselves well. They've a lot to be proud of. And then they came in here and they really showed us a lot more of what they can do. BLK, amongst others, is really impressed on that side. But we can't take the focus off Fury. They've got the job done. There was a few deep breaths there when they got that final round. I'll tell you now, it came down to a 1v1 and was a lot closer than they might have liked. But either way, they get themselves a headline game tomorrow against Dark Zero, or maybe a rematch with G2.
Either way, going to be a very tantalizing affair. I do worry that it could be another bit of a rollover when it comes around to that game, but we'll wait and see exactly what happens tomorrow, because you just never know what the mindset could be of one of those top 2 teams from EU and NA coming out of the back of a loss to someone they probably consider a bit of a rival. Still, I'm with you. I think with Knights, I saw some really impressive stuff like Tom. Really, as I said, that name will forever be burned into my brain as someone that's a little bit of a nuisance. He loved getting out there and being disruptive and trying to cause a bit of trouble. There's some good moments of this team, and this sort of stuff, it sounds really kind of cliche, but it's good character building. You come to an event like this, you get to scrim against tons of international competition. It's not just the official games that you get to play, and you learn a lot through the things that go wrong, because normally back in home regions, you don't always get the breadth of competition that you might be used to at these kind of events. I wouldn't take it as, well, it's obviously a bad thing. You've lost at the end of the day, but it's still a good learning experience to take back home and come back even stronger for the next event.
That's the key. You know, we've got to remember, this is a team that we haven't seen here before. You know, so in reality, it is about what can we take away from this and how do we guarantee that we get back there next time. That's going to be the big focus for them. You know, I'd like to see more from this Knights side. They've been entertaining, like you say, if nothing else. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of Fury tomorrow as well.
I am too. Yeah, Fury, I came into this saying, like, look, I don't think they're going to have enough to beat G2 or DZ, and we've kind of seen that happen in this group. It's played out as expected. Knights with the team that I saw as in 4th place would be the first ones going home, but you just never know what can happen tomorrow. We've seen plenty of crazy results today, let's not forget. You will see more consistency, I think, from top teams in a best of 3, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible that Fury don't manage to pull off a miraculous upset. For all you know, Canadian gets out on the wrong side of the bed tomorrow and doesn't have the kind of day that he's had today.
It's honestly, all things are possible in Siege. This is the thing. Until you are out, you are in. It really is that simple. And like you say, yes, we can look at it, and yes, we can say on paper we would expect, you know, whoever loses that G2 DZ matchup tomorrow to have a serious advantage over Fury. But there is nothing to say that now, having won that game, that best of 3, they haven't just got a little bit. Let's not forget, they're going to go into tomorrow. They're not going to play a game. They're going to be nice and fresh, and they're going to play a team who may be a little bit disheartened. G2 or DZ will be coming off the back of a loss when they play against them. So, you know, all things can happen realistically. Oh, that final. Honestly, I had no idea where that was going, which way that was going to end. No idea.
I9 in slow motion. Like I say, you loved it. Really impressed by him as well. I mentioned earlier on, you know, first map wasn't really impressed with I9. Missed out 2 or 3 absolute sitters of a kill, but But on this map, two or three rounds I'd actually single-handedly put down to him. Obviously a massive clutch out of Lycolis as well. It was a close map. Just Fury had that little bit extra in the tank.
Yeah, they did. And ultimately, that's generally what Siege games come down to. You know, who can push it over the line. I'm a little bit disappointed that I'd said before I felt if they won Border, Fury would win 2-0, but I'm a little bit disappointed not to get that 3rd map, especially the way Skyscraper was finishing. It was really starting to shape up into a real battle between these two. So it would have been nice to see that clubhouse finale, but, you know, I'm sure that Fury aren't going to mind an early night in bed. Yeah.
Crit the young gunner, it's bedtime for him. Off he trots. But again, equally for someone also quite new to this roster, less than 6 months on here, looking absolutely fantastic. Now, we do